Clergy this morning.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This time I'd like to introduce a friend of mine, Father J. Loya from Father Thomas J. Loya is pastor of Annunciation Byzantine Church located on Wilcook Road in Homer Glen. He is also host of 2 radio programs, and he is a contributing writer to the pastor column in the Homer Horizon newspaper. We thank him for coming.
Thank you, Stephen, and all of you for this privilege. Let us pray. O eternal being, Master, Lord, God, Father Almighty and adorable, it is truly proper and just and befitting the magnificence of your holiness to praise you, to sing you, to bless you, to worship you, to thank you, to glorify you, the only true God. You set all things in order. In the fullness of time, you brought us out of non-existence into being. You have shown us the ways to salvation and gave us every good gift and left nothing undone until you brought us to heaven. Heavenly Father, as you blessed and called your people, Israel, in times past, to be a holy nation, so too in later times you have called these United States of America to be a holy nation, a nation conceived upon the gift you endowed upon your human creature, the freedom to worship and adore you at all times and all places, and to live in peace and tranquility according to your order. But we have transgressed your laws, Almighty One, and chaos and hurt surround us. O Lord, you are an avenging God, the righteous judge, but you are the lover of mankind, a God also rich in compassion and mercy. Therefore, Lord, look down upon us, we'll bow our heads to you, but you're not out of flesh and blood, but to the awesome God. We beg of you to grant our prayer. Look not upon our sins, but upon our faith in you. As you now grant to us the virtues of prudence, fortitude, and justice, we implore you, O Lord, to remember in your rich compassion those who govern us, especially this Will County Board. Give them profound and enduring peace, instill in their hearts what is beneficial to this region and for all your people, that in their tranquility we may lead a calm and quiet life in all piety and holiness. Remember, O God, the people here present. Remember all your people, this your nation upon which you have poured out your rich blessings, for you know the name and age of each. You know each of them, even from their mother's womb. For you, O Lord, the help to the helpless, the hope of the hopeless. Bless all our good intentions, as is your good will. For you give us everything, O Lord. Keep our intentions pure, our resolve unshaken. Grant us a faith that cannot be confounded, love that does not pretend, a wisdom that overflows, the defeat of every enemy, the full observance of your commandments, and the acceptable defense before your first and judgment seat. Help us remain truly a nation under God. For you are holy, our God, and we render glory to you, now and unto ages of ages. Amen. Amen.
Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Carey.
Here.
Furlong.
Here.
O'Gala. Here. Summers. Cook. Here. Lucas. Rice. Here. Tyson. Here. Harris.
Here.
Rainier. Here. Fritz. Mueller. Here. Gould.
Here.
Van Dyne.
Here.
Balich. Here. Brooks.
Yeah.
Parker. Here. Ventura.
Present.
Dowlinger. Markham.
Here.
Berkowitz. Here. Cowan. Here. Tumanello.
Here.
Weigel. Here. Karlitis.
Here.
Winfrey. Here.
23 present for the answer.
We have a quorum. Motion to place on file certificate of publication. Madam Clerk.
Barry.
Yes.
Frislam.
Yes.
O'Gala.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Mustis. Rice.
Yes.
Tyson.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Trainier.
Yes.
Fritz. Mueller.
Yes.
Gould.
Yes.
Van Dyne.
Yes.
Balich.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yeah.
Parker. Yes. Ventura.
Yes.
Markham.
Yes.
Berkowitz.
Yes.
Cowan.
Yes.
Tumanello.
Yes.
Weigel.
Yes.
Karlitis.
Yes.
Winfrey.
Yes.
23 affirmative.
Passes. We have the Will County Board meeting regular meeting minutes from September 19th.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Perry, second by Mueller. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We also have the executive session county board minutes from September 19th.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Markham,
Second.
second by O'Gala. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, would you acknowledge our elected officials and media present?
Yes, today we have Auditor Debbie Blackburn, County Clerk Lawrence Daly Perry, Recorder of Deeds Karen Stucco, State's Attorney James Blasco, State Senator Jennifer Bertino Tarrant, and the Mayor of Bolingbrook, Roger Clare.
Thank you.
For the media, we have Nick Ryer from the Farmers Weekly Review and Alex Ortiz from the Herald News.
Next up, we have a presentation from the Plainfield Transition Group. Wendy? Plainfield Group will be speaking about the value of public transportation to them, and supporting them this morning is the Lockport Transition Community Connection Center.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing us to speak to you today about public transportation. Our team is from a Plainfield School District 202 transition program housed at Joliet Junior College. Our program is called PSTEP, which stands for Post-Secondary Transition Education Program. My name is Kathy Thomason, and I am the vocational coordinator at PSTEP. As part of our program, we work with students with disabilities to use public transportation. Most of our students do not drive. During the school day, we only use public transportation. Fixed route buses to travel to classes at the JJC Culinary Center downtown, to classes at the Disability Resource Center in Joliet, and to various other sites, such as the mall, for travel training. We are very familiar with the 501, the fixed route bus that stops at JJC. Our program currently has 48 students and is growing. Hopefully in the future, all these students will be working and they will all need transportation. We encourage independence, and public transportation can greatly affect that independence for our students. It costs the school district about $81.76 every time a school bus goes out one way. Think of how much we're saving the district by using transportation every day, public transportation. Thank you for all you've already done, and hopefully we'll expand this in the future. Maybe even a fixed bus route along Route 59. Thank you. And now we'll hear from our students.
Hi, my name is Brian Cook. This is my third year at PISA. In the future, I'd like to get a job at Mariano's, which is on the south side of Plainfield. Because I live in central Plainfield and I don't drive, it would be challenging to get to work. It would be very helpful if there was a PACE route to get to work. My experience using the PACE bus includes going to the mall. I was a little nervous at first, but I overcame my fear. It helps that I reduced fare card. And this is the card. I know I'm capable of reaching my goals with the help of public transportation.
Hi, my name is David Kamek, and this is my second year at PISA. I live in a no part of Plainfield, and in the future I'd like to get a job at McDonald's, but the nearest McDonald's is almost 2 miles away, and there aren't any consistent sidewalks, and having a PACE bus stop by my house will help me gain confidence in riding a PACE bus independently. I have used PACE bus to go to the DRC and my culinary class. I have a reduced fare card. If there was a PACE bus by my house, I will usually get to and from work and to go to the movies.
Hi, my name is Kalina Derrick. This is my first year at the B-Step program. I don't currently work. I would eventually like to get a job, possibly at a daycare or Little Caesars. I also currently don't drive. Therefore, using a PACE bus to get to the job would be convenient. The experience that I've had using the PACE bus has been excellent for me. I like it because the drivers are great workers to the customers. I feel very comfortable taking the PACE bus to my DRC class. If there was a PACE bus by my house, I'd use it to go to the movies, mall, or bowling.
Hello, my name is Allie Spinos. I'm in my 4th year of PISA, and I'm aging out at the end of the year. I see myself taking classes at JJC in the future. I'm unsure how will I get to the college because I don't drive. I live near Plainfield South, and my dad is going to start working every day, and there's no PACE stop on my house. In the future, I'd like to get a job at Jewel. It would be helpful if there's a PACE stop on my house. I take the PACE bus to culinary class once a week in downtown Joliet. We also take the bus to the mall and the Disability Resource Center. I feel very confident using the PACE bus. If there is a PACE route on my house, which is near Plainfield South, I would use it. I look forward to using PACE buses in Plainfield.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Bernal, and I am one of the PSEP teachers. Part of our curriculum includes teaching travel training, which we feel is so important because students need a way to get to and from work as well as social opportunities. So I'm going to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is our students. One of our students who's now in Project Search is named Kayla. Kayla lives in Romeoville, and on the weekends she likes to use the Pace bus to go to Louis Joliet Mall. Some of the other places that students like to go, and we go within our program, include downtown Joliet, where we take culinary skills classes. We also like to go out to eat in downtown Joliet, come to places like this, and we also take a yearly trip using the Mtra train. Another one of our students is named Jose. Jose was with us a few years ago where we really practiced using public transportation. Jose actually has a job at the Walmart in Plainfield. However, because he lives in central Plainfield, there's not a Pace bus that goes by his house. Yes, so some of our colleagues, including myself, have seen Jose walking down 59. Although we are so proud of his dedication to get to and from work, knowing how busy Route 59 is, this is not always very safe. So he actually uses Uber now, and anyone that's used Uber knows it can get very expensive over time. We have another former student named Jeremy. Jeremy was offered a job at Walmart. He lives by Larry's Diner in Plainfield, and due to the limited transportation, he's unable to get to and from work. We are very proud of two of our students this year, Sean and Christian, who recently obtained employment in two of our high schools, Plainfield South and Plainfield Central, in their district. This year, Plainfield School District is providing transportation from our program, which is housed at Joliet Junior College, to their places of employment, and then their parents have to pick them up. In the future, I know one of their goals is to utilize public transportation independently to get to and from work. As you can see, adding more public transportation in our community would be so beneficial for not only our current students, but our future students, as well as our family members. We really appreciate all the work you guys have already done, including the park and ride. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Awesome. Thank you. Very proud. Thank you. We have an honorary resolution from Mike Hennessy, who is not able to be with us this morning, so that's going to be moved to next month. We also have Gretchen Fritz, who will be recognizing October's National Energy Year.
Whereas the United States federal government has designated October as National Energy Awareness Month to raise awareness of the importance of sustainably managing the nation's energy resources. And whereas, since the designation in 1991 as National Energy Awareness Month, the federal government has continuously upheld this declaration. And whereas, Will County supports and shares in the proclaiming of this designation. And whereas the United States is becoming both energy independent and energy dominant because of the entrepreneurial spirit of the American people and the application of innovative technologies to energy production, transmission, distribution, and use. And whereas elected officials and staff have worked together to innovate Will County's approach to energy efficiency and renewable energy. And whereas Will County is home to various energy generation facilities and acknowledges the importance of responsible and conservative use of resources. And whereas the county has continued to focus on reducing its energy uses as part of the U.S. Department of Energy's Better Buildings Challenge since 2009. And whereas Will County is an active producer of alternative energy using its landfill gas to create electricity at the Prairie View landfill. And whereas Will County has been looked at as solar energy preparedness and education leader, earning SoulSmart Gold status. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive hereby proclaim October 2019 as National Energy Awareness Month. Be it further resolved that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive urge citizens, agencies, and organizations to recommit to strengthening our energy security and to using our energy resources responsibly to continue on a path toward energy independence. Dated this 17th day of October 2019. And I so move.
Second. Moved by Ms. Fritz, second by Ms. Ventura. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion is carried. All resolutions approved at the September 19th County Board meeting have been signed by the county executive. Next up, we have a presentation by Pace on their FY20 budget.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. Is this on? Yes, it is. County Board members, thank you for having us here today. We are here today to talk a little bit about our 2020 budget and some of our projects that we're working on in Will County that affect a lot of the communities throughout the region. I'm here today with our representative, Roger Clare, who's the Will County representative on the Pace Board of Directors, as well as Rocky Donahue, our executive director, and also Beth Gonzalez is here, who I think many of you know. She handles Will County with business needs and works with municipalities. Our 2020 budget this year is balanced. We have no fare increases, service cuts for ADA or fixed route services. Our suburban operations budget is approximately $240 million. Our paratransit budget is $195 million. Our ridership is up nearly 1% year-to-date at our Heritage Garage in Joliet. So I guess what I'm saying is, even though the trends of public transit are down throughout the country, Will County actually is improving in ridership, and a lot of that's because of the programs that we work together with the county and the municipalities throughout the region. Our 2019 successes in the region, we began our vision plan for the future. It's kind of our update. We had a plan that expired in 2020, so we are in the process of redoing that. It's called Driving Innovation. We're working along with all of the counties and so forth and getting their input on improvements that we need to make in our system, again, throughout the region. So we're looking forward to working with all of you on that as well. We recently launched our Pulse Milwaukee route in August, and that's our first rapid transit line in the region, where there's minimal stops along a major corridor. So it's pretty exciting for us. We've got a number of those planned over the next 10 years, approximately about 6 or 8 of them. So we're very excited about that improvement in service to make it a quicker ride for our ridership. We continue to adjust our I-55 bus on shoulder routes. We've had a lot of overcrowding issues. It's primarily because of equipment. We don't have enough buses. Fortunately, I'll talk a little bit about the capital plan that was approved in the legislature, which will certainly improve that situation. But currently, our ridership's approximately 3,000 people a day, and we're up to 100 trips a day. So we've got a lot of buses on the road. I know you probably see them throughout the course of the day. We are working on a number of opportunities for reverse commutes, where when those buses are coming back empty, we're trying to figure out places that they could bring people back from downtown. We did recently, this last year, partner with Lewis University, and that's been pretty successful, where one of the buses actually comes from downtown Chicago. It goes down there early in the morning, comes back, stops at Lewis, and then in the afternoon, as it's going back downtown for the commuters to come back home, it leaves from Lewis University. So they've got students and also professors and other employees that work there, and it's a good partnership we have with Lewis. We recently held our ribbon cutting for the completion of our 400-space park and ride in Plainfield, which is very successful, and if you haven't gone out there, go take a look at it. It's something we're going to be doing throughout the region, and there's a nice facility with bathrooms and the pay machines and a good awning area where people can stand in inclement weather and wait for the bus. But it's really a nice facility, and we're very proud of it. We're also, in 2019, we saved over $1 million by cutting and reducing some underperforming routes. Our objective moving forward is to do that very similar thing this coming year to the tune of about $1.6 million. And what we're going to be doing is redoing some of our existing routes, taking those dollars from those savings and reinvesting those in other services. So you heard about some of the services that the students were just talking about. Those are opportunities that we could reinvest those dollars into areas where there would be better ridership. Our public hearing for our budget is on October 21st at the downtown Joliet Public Library from 3 to 5. Our capital plan this year, we'll be receiving $340 million over the next 5 years. And this is part of the capital plan that the legislature passed. So we really want to thank the legislature for supporting that. It's a great opportunity for us to put dollars back into public transit. As I said, equipment was one of the things that we've got a problem with. We don't have enough buses. So we'll be in a position to be able to go ahead and get those ordered. We're actually working along with Plainfield to build a potential garage in Plainfield for our I-55 bus on shoulder service, which is very exciting. We're also looking at other park and ride lots and making those improvements very similar to how we did those in Plainfield as well. And we're also constructing, obviously not in this particular region here, also our Northwest Division garage. We're going to be replacing our Des Plaines garage with a new one in Wheeling. We bought a facility up there to renovate. We're also working along with, and we'll be working along with Mtra, I think, on this, our Harvey Transportation Center. We've got some dollars that were appropriated for us to be able to redo that, which is a very highly used hub for us. And then also our Joliet Transit Center, we are working in conjunction with the city of Joliet in a partnership, and we're committing $8 million to build that. We're hopefully going to have a potential groundbreaking in the spring with that, so we're very excited about that as well. We're also going to invest over $20 million over the next 5 years to improve ADA paratransit customer service with upgrading software, book trips online, pay fare through Ventra, and also purchase some land for transfer stations throughout the region and the city of Chicago to make it easier for our riders to be able to find those buses. We continue to work with companies and organizations on workforce mobility, and we work very closely with the county. We continue to work with companies like Amazon, Centerpoint, Hearth Foods, Maggot, G&W Electric, Berlin Industries, Alta, Lewis University, Mannheim Auto Auction, Disability Resource Center, Senior Services, Catholic Charities, and of course you've heard earlier where we work with high school transition programs throughout the county. It's a great opportunity. Beth Gonzalez works very closely with all those groups, and we're very excited about their potential interest in utilizing public transit. We are the second largest transit system in the United States that serves people with disabilities, and we carry around 200,000 trips a day throughout the region. So with that, I'll open it up to see if there's any questions, and certainly we look forward to working with all of you in the future.
Mr. Listis?
Mayor Claire. Every year I have to say a little something. And I do think Pace certainly tries very hard to improve service. So, but yet, most of Little County does not have fixed routes. They're not workable fixed routes. And there's always the special programs that you may do or partner with employers or whatever. But the local transportation is most of our communities, like the fixed routes are too far away. And maybe there's not enough fixed routes. There's certainly no fixed routes that go from one end of the county to the other, like a Route 30 that basically would lease out east-west and take you from one end of the county to the other. You know, what are we doing to try to improve? And I might add, more local operators. Frankfort Town, I've been involved with the PACE for over 30 years. I've run a PACE program for 30 years. And it's always been a challenge. And I see more PACE operators either cutting their service or getting out because they can no longer afford the cost. I mean, we in Frankfort Township are local, and we also use Will Ride where we split the cost. But I'm thinking the Will Ride, I think the average ride is like $36. And if you do that, you know, round trip, that's $72, and the local's picking up about 40% of that. So it's really not affordable to operate. You know, years ago, PACE did participate a little bit more in the cost of the operation. There was subsidies in one way or the other. That's many years ago. And my concern is that the local operators are just not going to be able to continue because of the cost burden. And I don't know what the answer is, but I just want to express to you all that, you know, it's becoming pretty tough. You know, in Frankfort Township, with an entire tax levy of $2 million, 200,000, 10% of the entire levy goes to PACE. And out of that, we're only recapturing about $30,000 out of the $200,000. So, you know, for small governments who operate many of these, it gets tougher and tougher. And I would assume that municipalities that are doing it get tougher and tougher. I just want to point that out. That's all.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. I'm Rocky Donahue with PACE. Chairman, it's just good to see you again. Couple, I think, hopefully I'll briefly try to address some of the points you made. One is our chairman stated we're undergoing a new strategic plan now, driving innovation. And the reality of that strategic plan is the suburban landscape has vastly changed since PACE was formed in 1984. And more people live in the suburbs now, more people work in the suburbs. So we realized, just as also the chairman said, we cut some bad performing routes and reinvested those routes. And in areas like, in certain areas of Will County, we realized fixed route isn't the answer, and we have to look at other types of services, be it a dial a ride, be it on demand, maybe partnering with the TNCs, the Ubers and Lyfts of the world and subsidizing trips. So we believe our strategic plan will help us address that. But the biggest answer is really, and I hate to say this, is money. PACE receives about 10 cents of every dollar that is invested in public transit in the region. 90 cents of every dollar, quite honestly, serves the central business district of the city of Chicago. It either goes to CTA or it goes to Mtra, and I'm not criticizing those agencies, but it takes people from the suburban area into the jobs of the central business district within the city of Chicago. That's what 90 cents of every dollar is spent on, and 10 cents is left for, quite honestly, us to address that the suburb commute, or the aging population, or as we heard from the students, the disabled community. And so the strategic plan is basically, as it relates to Will County, here's how much money we're getting from Will County, and how do we best utilize it. And we appreciate the partnerships from our local communities, such as Frankfort Township, who helps subsidize certain services. But I think unless we can really get a paradigm shift of more of the resources going into suburban transit, we're going to be faced with these challenges for a long time.
Hi there, my name is Mimi Cowan. I live in the neighborhood portion of Will County, and I just noticed that one of the proposed cancellations is the route that serves my area on Route 59, the Saturday service. And I just wanted to ask what the rationale is for cutting that Saturday service?
Thank you. It's a great question. So it's a lot of factors. So every quarter, so every 3 months, we evaluate every route in our system. We have over 200 routes, and we evaluate them on certain criteria. Fare box recovery ratio is one. And what that means is what does the route cost, and then how much we're collecting back in fares to cover the cost of that route. It is, Mr. Moose has pointed out, he's spending X, and what they're getting back in fares is X, and there's a big subsidy. By law, by state law, the region as a whole has to recover 50% of its costs through the fare box. So state of Illinois has said the customer has to pay 50% and the taxpayer has to pay 50%. And if it was a region, you don't recover that 50%, we're not going to give you your state money because you guys have to make sure that the customer's paying its fair portion. I'm not going to tell you our recovery ratio isn't even close to 50%, but the RTA has said to us, Pace, your share to reach that is 30% because you have a much different landscape, a different clientele. So one of the factors we look at is what is the recovery rate. I don't have that in front of me, but I know it's like in the teens, or maybe not even in the teens, 12 to 17%. So we're not even close to that 30%. Other issues that we look at is a productivity, and by that is how many riders per hour are getting on and off that bus, and it's not meeting that standard either. And then another issue is the subsidy per trip. So we've established that the subsidy per trip is $5, is average throughout the system. What's going on that service, at least on the Saturday portion of it, we're subsidizing it much more than $5. So I can get you the exact thing. So we look at those, we look at every route in the system, and the routes get ranked on those productivity. And just as our chairman said, unfortunately, we have an obligation to the taxpayer as well to take the limited resources we have and try to reinvest them in service that is carrying more people and is being just more productive. And unfortunately, that service on Saturday is not meeting that criteria. You probably asked me what time it was, and I told you how to build a clock. I apologize.
No, I appreciate the details. Thank you. I like building clocks.
I'd like to ask just one more question. Here in Will County, we started Will Ride. Will Ride is based on, it was started by a grant from the RTA that will hopefully continue. And I think one of the ways, I know you're not the RTA, but I think one of the ways to help relieve some of that financial pressure and expand the system is by larger grants to like a Will County to help drive down some of that cost and expand services. Now, I know you don't hand out the grants from the RTA, but I think that is one of the ways that public transportation, partnering with locals, can be a little bit more successful. If they increase some of those grants, we'll do the grunt work and put in our share. And as it stands now, I mean, I would tell this board, I think we should put more money to Will Ride out of our budget also. I didn't always say that. So I just want to say there are some other solutions. Let's just give us a little bit more resources. RTA, and we can, and if there's things that are available to us, or programs or ways that you think we can get larger grants, I don't even know who we talk to or lobby to try to get a shift of maybe more grant money coming out of the RTA.
What I would suggest is, and I don't know, is the RTA, they come and present their budget as well, right? Next month or next month. So perhaps maybe ask them that question, but they obviously do have grant programs for different types of services to local municipalities or counties or whatever, and a lot of them are planning grants. And, maybe it's an aspect where they can relook at their grant program and figure out if there's a better way that they can subsidize the actual transit part of the programs that you guys work on versus some of the planning for TOD developments and so forth. Because I know that's been very critical before, where a lot of municipalities take advantage of those grants, get those plans done, and then those projects never get built for whatever reason. It could be economics, or it could be just nobody wants to move forward with them. So, those are dollars maybe that can be reallocated. That's something maybe you can bring up to them next month. And we'll certainly pass that along as well.
We have a couple more questions. Ms. Berkowitz, followed by Ms. Ventura.
Thank you. I'm also in the Naperville district, and we know that the Pace buses are quite empty. You see that all the time. Is there a way that you could use smaller vehicles to cut down on the cost of providing that transportation? We also have a ride assist program. Could you work with them to provide transportation if it's necessary? And also in our area, Aurora, with that new development coming in, we will see a resurgence in that area of business and residential. And do you anticipate any increased demand with a development such as that?
Thank you. Again, not to sound like a broken record, but that's really what you're describing is the impetus of our strategic plan. And so our last strategic plan, as the chairman said, was called Vision 2020. We launched it in 2001. Well, we're now 4 months from 2020, and we might be a little late to the party, but at least we're coming to the party. We realized, hey, we need a new plan. And we started this in January of 2019, and as I described earlier, we realized the suburban landscape has changed. To your question about bigger buses versus small buses, we actually operate the largest small bus fleet in the nation. Our buses now, by industry standards, are small. They're 30-foot buses. Typical transit coaches are 40-foot buses. But the real cost isn't in the bus. Yeah, we could arguably save a little bit on the capital side. It's a smaller vehicle, but the cost is really on the driver's side, the insurance, the fuel, the operation side. So it's a good question, but it's kind of a myth that a smaller bus is going to save us money. It may save us a little bit on the capital side, but we still have to pay the driver to drive it. We still have to pay for the fuel. We still have to pay for the insurance. To your question about Aurora, absolutely. We've met with the village of Aurora more than once. We realize it's just not Aurora. We've met with businesses out here in Will County. As the area grows, we have to, and this gets back to our limited resources, we have to take the resources we have now and redirect them into where people need to go and where the jobs are. Easier said than done, because there are people who ride the service we have now, and to them it's very valuable. And the Pace rider generally rides Pace because they're dependent of the service. Unlike our sister agencies at CT and Mtra, those are by far more choice riders. They choose to take Mtra downtown. They don't want to drive their car. They don't want to pay for parking. Our riders are what you saw today: individuals with disabilities, senior citizens, low-income workers. That if Pace wasn't there, they don't get to school, they don't get to work. So I promise you, when we have to make these decisions like we're doing with Saturday, they're really not easy. But we have that obligation as stewards of the taxpayer too. How can we get more people on the bus? So yes, we have the largest small bus fleet in the nation, and we are working with Aurora and on new developments.
Yeah, I have 3 things. First, I am an advocate of public transportation, and I encourage this board to continue down that path. Recently, we've been discussing our gas tax and what, by having a dedicated funding for motor fuel taxes, what does that do for our RTA funds when they're opened up? And I was trying to find the document, I couldn't find it, but we were given a document that showed what other counties invest in their RTA funds into public transportation versus Will County. And it's notable that other counties invest a lot more money than Will County does. So could you talk about what it would, if we were to invest those dollars here, what you guys could do possibly with that money? And I have two other things after that.
Yeah, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me county by county, but I'll use DuPage County as an example. DuPage County has a program that they call Ride DuPage, where they partner with Pace. We provide vehicles, we provide funding, but they also provide funding, and they have a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week paratransit operation that is open to the general public throughout the whole county. So there's a resource of you're able, anywhere in the county to live, you can get from point A to point B. It's expensive service, as Director Mustis has pointed out, Coordinator Mustis has pointed out, you know, this is dial-a-ride service. So it picks individuals up at their home and it takes them to their location, and it's costly to operate that type of service. DuPage County has felt that was important to them. So I'd be happy to share to you what other counties are putting in the type of programs they do. That's one program. We do something where in the city of Chicago, for our ADA customers, we call our TAP program, where we subsidize taxi trips. So that's potentially another opportunity. We're exploring right now in the Rosemont area and in the Harvey area, subsidizing Uber and Lyft type of trips, ride-share trips. So there are a lot of different things we can do, and we'd be happy to sit down with the county and explore those options.
Yeah, so that is my second thing, looking at expanded lines and more permanent routes, but to know what those dollars would cost us if we wanted to invest in that. So I'd love to see a future presentation and working with Wendy, who coordinates some of our township, how we can create a system where all of our township buses can work together, and you can, I know the townships are working on that already, but where can Will County fill in the gaps? That's directly to Noosa's point, is do our share. I would like the county to do our share and have that. My last point is, what about electric buses, EVs?
So it's a great question. So we have made a decision at Pace. We're moving to compressed natural gas buses. Not as environmentally friendly as electric, but much more environmentally friendly than diesel vehicles. And why is that? So a diesel bus costs roughly $500,000 today. A compressed natural gas bus roughly costs $520,000, so $20,000 more. An electric vehicle is upwards of $700,000 to $800,000. It's almost double the cost. We have a capital issue in the sense of a state of good repair, and it becomes a cost-benefit analysis. The savings, the operational savings between operating compressed natural gas and electricity doesn't warrant paying almost twice as much today as an electric bus. And we also don't have the infrastructure in the community to support electric buses right now. A lot of our buses are on the road for upwards of 12 hours a day. They would have to charge someone along the route. And so we don't have the infrastructure also to support electric buses. However, as the technology changes, and if those prices come down, like everything, I remember in the 80s I bought a VHS for $1,000, and then eventually you could buy one for $29. But so as the technology changes with that, we probably move in that way. But we are moving to a more environmentally friendly fuel, compressed natural gas, and it's also the biggest supply of compressed natural gas is right here in the United States. So we won't be dependent on foreign fuel and those spikes that occur at the gas pump as well.
Mr. Harris?
Yes. Is your strategic plan available on your website?
It is not yet. The strategic plan is still being developed, but we envision it being ready to roll out to the public in January.
Final questions for Rocky, Rick,
I
I'd just like to say one thing.
Mayor Quinn.
First of all, Rocky's been with the PACE system since its inception, was recently elevated executive director, and is a very hardworking, knowledgeable man. It's hard to compete with him, as well as the expertise of Chairman Kwasniewski and their president in the room. But I've never seen an agency that's more responsive to individual communities, townships' needs than PACE is. Grants are fine, but when grants run out, local funding has to pick that up. So when you look at grants, you have to look at the long term also. And frankly, sometimes the whims of people that ride buses changes. The numbers grow, they shift. Park and ride facilities are hard to come by, they're expensive to maintain and build. The one in Plainville is beautiful. We have two in Bolingbrook. And the buildings and the millions of square feet of industrial parks, business parks have been built in Will County in the last 10 to 15 years. Those change too. A building that has 30 employees one day, next year might have 500. So it's continually shifting, and often PACE and other agencies like that are the last to know. So we find out after the fact that there's these needs, and then we have to make shifts, because you have to look at these, people said empty buses, people see a piece of buses that are too crowded. It's a continually changing thing, but again, I can assure you, the PACE staff does a great job. Beth Gonzalez is here all the time. She's opposite at Bolingbrook. She's available to meet with any of you that got questions, as well as our PACE, other PACE staff. So I think your PACE dollars are in good hands, but it all boils down to, ladies and gentlemen, money. You wrestle with it, we wrestle with it. You can take it from here and move it there, but eventually somebody's going to fill those pots of money. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
We have Mtra this morning also doing their fiscal 20 budget presentation.
I'm Norman Carlson, the chairman of the board of Mtra, but before Rocky and Rick leave, I want to note that on an operating and day-to-day basis, we have the best relationship with the two of them. I'm speaking on behalf of Jim Derwinski and myself, that we've ever had. And we're also having an improving relationship with CTA, which does nothing to benefit the area. So Rocky and Rick, I want to recognize that and thank you for all the work you're doing with us. Thank you. With me is Janice Thomas. Janice is our head of community relations, and she also is in charge of all of our diversity programs. And sitting up in the gallery are Arsenio Palmas and Noe Gallardo. Stand up, please. They are also in our community relations group. We're pleased to have them here today. Thank you guys for coming. For me, it's great being back in Joliet. My parents spent many of their retirement years living here in Joliet. So over the course of my life, I spent a lot of time down here. I've also been coming down all of my life to the working facility that's in the southwest part of town. Under Metra's proposed budget, it is balanced, number one. And number two is, this is the second year where we are not having a fare increase, thank you to the capital program. Now, I all know that all of you are very familiar with capital and operating. While our capital is in much better shape than it's been in the past, we would have a budget of $480 million for capital. But please compare that to the RTA believes that in order for us to achieve a state of good repair, we should have $1.2 billion annually. In the past, we have been basically operating with about a quarter of that need. Here, looking going forward with 2020 and hopefully into the oncoming years, we would probably be at half of that need. We have considerable pressure on the operating budget. The major issue for that pressure is a federally mandated, unfunded system called positive train control. To use the words of Don Rosillo, a well-respected Will County resident who was our prior executive director, this is not a program that keeps giving and giving, it's a program that keeps taking and taking. We hope the cost of this will be only $20 million. We are concerned it's going to be more than $20 million on an annual basis, and that is just the operating cost. And what we are experiencing already is some of the software, even before it's been implemented, has been outdated and has had to be increased or had to be updated. On the issue of positive train control, the Rock Island District is now running 100% under positive train control. We are working on the Southwest trains. That's very interesting because they have to initialize with 5 different railroads for the course of their one trip from Chicago to Manhattan or Roland Park is scheduled. The Burlington Northern Service and the UP service is also at 100%. We are testing this concept on Metro Electric. Hopefully, Canadian National and will be having the Heritage Corridor up to date by the 4th quarter of this year. I think that has been rolled more over into the 1st quarter. This federal system must be in place and 100% functional as best as it can by December 31st, 2020. If it's not, there's going to be a lot of intensive scrutiny from the U.S. Congress. So where are we spending our money? Our capital money. Stations, locomotives, passenger cars, and bridges. Let me talk about bridges. We have 846 bridges in our 6-county system. 486 of those bridges, the main spans are 100 years or older. Think about your Des Plaines River Bridge. That's probably about 60 years old or 70 years old, somewhere in that era. And think of the problems that you have with that bridge. We are replacing a bridge in Elgin over the Fox River. The piers were built in 1888. The steel was installed in 1906 and 1926. We are replacing bridges in Ravenswood neighborhood of Chicago. Those bridges were installed in 1896 and 1897. They did not think about automobiles when they designed those bridges. They thought about horse and buggy. So this is the condition of the bridges that we are dealing with. Every one of them is safe. Every one of them is inspected very, very regularly, and some of them are maintained constantly. One of the bridges that we are maintaining constantly is over Western Avenue near Grand Avenue in Chicago, and I will talk a little bit about that a little bit later. Believe it or not, that one has an impact on Little County. There's one issue that affects PACE, CTA, RTA, and us, and that is the financial model on which our subsidies are based. The subsidies are based on sales tax collections. The model was put together in the 1970s. So what did we have then? We had a manufacturing economy in this region. We don't have a manufacturing economy anymore. We have a services and lately a logistics economy, which is particularly strong down here in Will County. The other part of it is then based on retail sales in stores, brick and mortar stores. Today it's online. The tax collections on online, in some cases, are quite a bit different than they are on brick and mortar. That is being dealt with on a federal level with those types of sales tax collections. We believe that we as a state need to take a very hard look on how we fund public transportation. This issue will affect many of the things that you were asking about, and Rocky was responding about limited resources. We are faced with the same limited resources. We have as much challenge as PACE does. The other interesting thing that is happening to us is more and more people are becoming dependent on Metro service. So we are serving a lot more transit-dependent people than we ever have in the past. This is a wonderful opportunity for us, quite frankly, because that's our mission is to serve. So while the new state capital program has helped us attack a huge backlog of projects, on the capital side, we really need to start thinking about the operating side. And the reason I am mentioning this is we'll be reaching out to all of the counties as we do an education program going forward, I'm sure you're going to hear some of the same messages from Rocky and the RTA people as well. Now, I talked about that bridge in Western Avenue. More and more, you're going to hear us talk about the aorta of Mtra. The aorta of Mtra is a corridor from roughly Western Avenue and Grand Avenue into Union Station and into the Ogilvie Transportation Center. Of the railroad's lines that go through what we call Tower A2, which is a control tower where we have 3 tracks crossing over 4 tracks, are the Heritage Corridor trains. Once the Heritage Corridor trains get to Union Station, they continue through the station out to our servicing yard at Western Avenue. 55%, excluding the Heritage Corridor, 55% of our customers, the equipment for their trains go through that facility. The bridge on Western Avenue was built in 1905. The track structure was built between 1933 and 1937. The other issue that's important to you here in Will County is we are landlocked on all of our storage facilities downtown, so we do not have the ability to add trains. In many cases, we do not even have the ability to add a car to a train because of the length of the storage tracks. We have had discussions with Mayor Lightfoot, 2 deputy mayors, and 2 aldermen about getting at least some portion of the city auto pound where they have vehicles that have been stored there literally for decades at the far end, which is what we need, to see if we can restore that to what it used to be. It used to be the Milwaukee Roads Freight Yard. We would like to make it part of Metro's storage yards, and we would also like to add the facilities that we have there, which means more jobs. Speaking of jobs, our rehab programs, which you benefit from, rehab of locomotives and rehab of passenger cars, which we do internally, we have turned an inspection shop, the old Rock Island passenger inspection shop at 49th and the Dan Ryan, into a manufacturing facility, and we are investing $30 million to enhance that facility and our capability to rehab cars. Since 2012, that facility has put $180 million of value into the economy of Northeast Illinois. 35 million of that is payroll. We have hired over 100 people at very well-paid middle-class jobs, and the rest is the savings by doing it internally. We save about $400,000 a car by doing it internally, but the most important thing is, it is our people who have been there for years. We are generating apprentice programs to yield our future mechanical staff, and the most important thing is the quality. We can control the quality. So that is very important to us. What is happening here, and you benefit from those programs. What is happening specifically in Will County is the new Lennox Station, which is, we are contributing about $2 million to. There is going to be a renewal of the grade crossing at Vine Street in New Lenox. We have the Hickory Street Bridge, which is about $3 million of our investment. Or I said Hickory Street, I mean Hickory Creek Bridge. We also have the 75th Street Corridor, which is in process. That is a $1 billion project to undo the congestion in that corridor. It's a big X. And the Southwest service trains come in here and they go out here. So we have to hold the freight trains to get the trains through. On top of that, you have CSX going north-south while everybody's going east-west. The first project is to put an overhead bridge, just like a highway grade separation. It's called a flyover in the railroad industry, to put the CSX trains over the top. The second thing to do is to get rid of this by putting the Heritage Corridor trains up in the air. And, I'm sorry, the Southwest Service trains up in the air. You will hear a lot about this project, and there is a lot of work going on to increase the minority participation. And yesterday there was a big program in which Senator Durbin, Governor Pritzker, and County Chairman Preckwinkle we're introducing an education program for all of the students in the area surrounding that, and it is a minority area, as you know. So these are some of the focuses that the railroad industry is putting on minorities. And I will tell you that next Tuesday, I'm hosting a meeting with people from Penn State, schools in the area, and the University of Illinois Railroad program to see how we can interest minority students in the professional engineering careers such as civil engineering, electrical engineering, and other engineering disciplines in the railroad industry. So these are some of the things that we are doing in addition to running trains. There's a lot more I could talk about. I probably run over the time that you would like me to allow, but I think this is our opportunity to share with you all we are doing besides running trains. The last thing I want to mention is we have a suicide prevention program. We've had too many this year. And we have a very active program. We held a symposium on this that brought in people from England and Canada to discuss how they handle the situations. And I described this as Mtra is in the business of saving lives. So with that, I'm open for questions, and I have Janice here to help me answer questions that I may not have the details for. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Tuinello?
Thank you. My question is, after looking at your financial plan, it looks like you appear to be budgeting about $8 million less in paid ridership for 2020. I was curious, A, why that is, and secondly, the follow-up question would be, then it seems like in your 21 and 22 budget, all of a sudden you're ramping that thing back up where you're gaining 10% ridership, all the way up to $442 million in total revenue. So it's a little concerning that we're seeing a big drop-off, and then over 2 years later, you think that it's going to rise by over 10%. I'm wondering if there's a...
The short answer is the main reason for the drops in ridership has been people are working more at home than they have in the past. And when Cook County started to accept electronic filings, the legal community ridership went like this because they only now come downtown maybe 1 day a week or 1 day a month, and the only time they come down is when they have to go to court appearances. So that's one of the examples of this occurred here recently. Number two is we have hired a bright young guy as a marketing fellow, and we're looking to start to ramp up our marketing. Now, it doesn't affect here, but one of the major areas we are looking at is reverse commuting. We have a substantial reverse commuting market from Chicago to Lake County. Why? Because the Lake County businesses have invested in the shuttle service from the train station to the businesses. We added a morning sunrise express on our Milwaukee North line. RTA gave us a grant for half the cost. We put together a partnership of the Lake County Partners, which is the economic development organization, and we have 15 publicly traded company headquarters in Lake County. We have Abbott, AbbVie, which is the spin-out of Abbott, Granger, and a number of others. These are the principal companies that are helping to fund this service. In addition, the County of Lake, the City of Lake Forest, and the Village of Deerfield have contributed to the 50% pool that helped put the operating cost of this train. The next step is for us to put what we call a universal crossover. That's where you have a right-hand switch and a left-hand switch, so you can reverse tracks and reverse the direction of trains. That same group of partners from Lake County have committed to 50% funding on the capital cost of that crossovers and related signals. That will allow us to run more trains and turn them at the Lake County or Lake Forest platforms, or just north of Lake County Forest platforms, to save time of running equipment up and down. So that starts us to get more efficient use of our equipment. We are starting to the discussions of some additional service with the businesses in Lake County. AbbVie is the one that is looking at it the hardest. Why? AbbVie is looking at adding $100 million in payroll. Their targets are mainly young people that want to live in Chicago. and they see having us provide that reverse commuter service is a huge benefit to their recruitment efforts, because these young people do not want to drive, and where they can work on the train. The train makes all the stops in Chicago and then runs nonstop from Devon Avenue in Chicago to Lakewood Road. Our own transportation people couldn't believe how fast we get a train up there by providing that type of service.
Thank you. I just wanted to let you know that I visited the new Romeoville station. It's very nice. Can you put some tracks through Bolingbrook? The Romeoville station's very nice, and the parking is filled up already pretty well, from what I understand from talking to the riders. So I think there's just 3 trains, and I believe it's the second train that gets the most traffic. But on a non-holiday week and a non-Monday week, there's a lot of cars there. I can see in the future you're going to have need for more parking.
Well, the parking lot has been expanded once already.
Yeah.
And there is land for another expansion.
I saw it. It's right there.
It's right there, and that's in the plans. It is not funded right now. I'm going to take an opportunity to say, just so you know, Canadian National has told us for us to add any trains on that, it's $5 million of capital money for each round trip.
No, I mean, you have 3 trains. It's a decent amount of trains, though. Yeah.
And I will tell you that Representative Dan Lipinski is very focused on this issue. And we have met with Dan on a number of occasions, and it comes up all the time. We were able to get that 245 in, so we have 4 trips out. And we've also tried to explore, and the conversations have not gone anywhere, to try to have some reverse commuting. And it turned, we approached Argonne, I'll tell you that, and it turned out that there are people who would much rather have the bus go up to the BNSF line because of the number of stations on the BNSF line, both in and out. So we are doing a lot of it, to further answer your question, we're doing a lot of things to see how we can recover the ridership.
Right.
Yes, the price of gas impacts us. More importantly, the price of parking downtown impacts us. And the fare increases, to some extent, have impacted us, but this is the second year without a fare increase, and we're looking to hopefully recover some of that ridership.
I do find it interesting that on the BNSF, there aren't any express routes within the main section. I don't know how to explain it, but other than to give an example. From Naperville to Berwyn, 15 stops.
We're without getting too deep in the weeds on railroads, we have a train on BNSF during the rush hours every 4 and a fraction minutes.
Wow.
That is a rapid transit frequency on a diesel-powered commuter rail operation. If it was electrified, it would be a little bit easier because of the acceleration and deceleration rates of an electric train versus a diesel haul train. And if you're sitting in the dispatching center, it's the most interesting thing is we're weaving the trains between the outer track and the inner track.
Like air traffic controllers, I'm sure.
Exactly right. Exactly right. That's a very good analogy. And if we had an all-stop train in there that's running 30 miles an hour, you can imagine what happens to the express stops, or express trains. So what we try to do is set up a skip-stop pattern, and there are a couple of trains that do make stops out and then make stops down. The average ridership on those Naperville expresses is 1,700 people.
It's a busy train.
It's a very busy train. It takes 18 minutes for the person who's in the westernmost car to walk the length of Union Station to get off that train, and that assumes we don't bring a train in on the opposing track on the same time. So those are some of the things, the dynamics of that service. And my other comment is we have a minor miracle twice a day. It's called the rush hour. The other thing I will tell you, the easiest thing we do is run trains. police activity, passenger emergencies. You would not believe how many cars are stuck on the tracks. It just goes on and on. We move the population of Naperville system-wide into Chicago in the morning, we move it back out in the afternoon, and we have all the attendant problems of handling the municipality.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this runs through you guys, but at one point there was talk of a high-speed rail going to St. Louis, and then the project got stalled. In the future, is that anything you guys are looking at from Chicago to St. Louis?
That's Amtrak's purview.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have a presentation this morning from State's Attorney Glasgow.
Morning. On October 9th, we had a banquet, Real Heroes Don't Wear Capes, to celebrate the people who help us carry out the mission of the Children's Advocacy Center. And it was amazing. There was a spirit in the room that was really special. Scott Cross gave the keynote address, and he was good enough to fly up from Florida to do that, and he didn't charge us a dime. We were looking for speakers. Some of them wanted as much as $40,000. So what he did, though, he's not out for publicity, but what he stands for is, here's a kid, his father was a pastor, lived in a rural community where everybody was God-fearing and church-going, and he goes to school, and his wrestling coach was obviously abusing the wrestling team. Of course, back then, he didn't say anything, because, oh, he'd be branded as something evil, you as the child. And so I think we're past that. I think we are much more accepting of people and what their lifestyles are. And so we don't condemn people, especially when they're a victim, and especially when they're a child. And I was hoping very much to give this award. This thing is amazing. It weighs about 10 pounds to Larry personally, and I was looking forward to giving it to him personally again today. Larry Walsh has played a critical role in the Children's Advocacy Center. After 3 years at Silver Cross Hospital, he stepped up and got us some office space within the county, and every time we needed to move to a new location, to a larger location, he provided us with that location. As the county executive, that's his province. But again, he could refuse. So we've got a decent space right now. We're working on building a separate building, but what we have right now is working very well for our needs. And we've talked to the county board about getting some remodeling for our accreditation, because some of the walls don't go to the ceiling. I know that'll get done. But Larry, we recently heard a summary of his career. I don't think anybody will ever match Larry Walsh for his continuous public service. I don't know how many decades it was that he's held elected office. I personally have when he was a senator in Springfield, had an opportunity to have him sponsor bills for me. One in particular, I got to just tell you this one, the animal torture bill. Somebody set a cat on fire in Joliet. I went down to Springfield, and Larry sponsored the bill. And our biggest hurdle was getting an animal husbandry exception. It wasn't going to pass without that. And I don't know that anybody other than Larry could have dealt with the farm lobby the way he did and got that bill through. And we were one of the first states in the nation to make it a felony to torture an animal. And torturing of animals goes to the basis of so much of our criminal activity, from domestic violence to sexual abuse to murder. So it's a critically important law, and Larry played a huge role in getting that passed. And you all know what he's done here. His legacy is very lengthy. This is the Glenn Markham Award, and his son Tyler is on the county board now, carrying on Glenn's legacy. Of course, Larry has his son in the House of the State House, and his other son, Sean, is the superintendent of schools. Does a very, very excellent job there. So Larry's going to live on. you know, Larry and I are about the same age, and, you know, you start this, you realize your fallibility and your vulnerability, and, you know, I'm still praying that he's going to make it through. He's a tough guy. He never gives up, and so hopefully by taking some time off and not being under the stress that he has here, that he'll be able to enjoy his retirement, which he's richly entitled to. But this Glenn Markham Award, which is selfless dedication to community service, I think is about as richly deserved by Larry Walsh as anybody that I can think of. And again, you know, Larry, if you're listening, we're all praying for you, and we're anxious to see you enjoy your vacation, going to Ireland, and whatever else you want to do. Thanks.
Start a committee reports with the Land Use Committee, Mr. Markham.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to start by opening, or making a motion to open the public hearing for all land use cases.
Moved by Mr. Markham. Second. By Ms. Ventura. Any questions? All those in favor? I'm sorry. Carey?
Yes.
Brizalone? Yes. O'Gala? Cook? Yes. Lucas?
Yes.
Rice? Yes. Tyson? Yes. Harris?
Yes.
Trainier? Yes. Fritz? Yes. Wheeler? Yes. Gould? Yes. Van Dyne?
Yes.
Balich?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Parker? Yes. Ventura?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Berkowitz? Yes. Collins? Yes. Tumanello?
Yes.
Weigel?
Yes.
Carlitis?
Yes.
Winfrey? Yes. We're now in public hearing. We have one speaker signed up, Maria Galvez.
Okay.
Please be advised that absolutely no new evidence or information will be allowed once this land use public hearing is closed. Any others wishing to speak on the land use cases? Public hearing for land use cases. Any of the speakers?
Motion to close.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Markham, second by Mr. Brooks. Perry?
Yes.
Brizalone?
Yes.
O'Gala? Yes. Cook? Yes. Lucas? Rice? Yes. Tyson? Yes. Harris?
Yes.
Trainier? Yes. Fritz?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Gould?
Yes.
Van Dyne?
Yes.
Balich?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Parker? Yes. Ventura?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Berkowitz? Yes. Cowan? Yes. Tumanello?
Yes.
Weigel?
Yes.
Carlitis?
Yes.
Winfrey? Yes.
24.
All right, our first case is zoning case ZC-19-036, which is a request for a zoning map amendment from A1 to I1 and a special use permit for a truck terminal in Joliet Township, commonly known as vacant property on Cherry Hill Road, Joliet, Illinois, County Board District Number 8. Land Use and Development voted 6-1 to approve, and I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Brooks, motion by Mr. Markham, second by Mr. Brooks. Any discussion?
Hold on.
Ms. Ventura?
Yeah, and land use, I voted no on this case. This is the second trucking terminal this year that's been brought to the county. I do plan to vote no. There is a letter from the Forest Preserve that talks about the waterways. This does sit adjacent to the Forest Preserve land. My constituents have, even though this is not in District 9, this is in District 8, they are tired of having trucking terminals, parking lots, and warehouses, and they'd like to see innovation and maybe housing, some other investments come to this property. Since there is other interest by the Forest Preserve for this property, I would ask that other people consider that when making their vote. Also, the last thing I want to bring up is that we may be setting a precedence here without a long-term plan. I have talked on the a land use committee about looking at a master plan going forward, so we're not approving these things in a vacuum, that we do know the precedents that we're setting. To that point, the City of Joliet is looking at a program called the pilot program, which would increase taxes for things like trucking terminals or warehouses. If this passes, we may see an increase here in Will County for that. The reason for that is their warehouses bring in $16,000 per acre for property taxes, but trucking terminals only bring in $8,000, and trucking parking lots only bring in $4,400. So to that point, they're looking to increase that since the trucks still tear up the roads regardless of whether they're in a parking lot or a terminal. That being said, that's something we should probably look at as well. So for those reasons, I will be a no on this vote. Thank you.
Ms. Rice?
I'd like to be a no.
I thought we were going to roll call.
Yeah, I wanted to clarify really quick. We have to take a vote for the map amendment and then a separate vote for the special use permit. So just so we're clear, my motion, I'd like to amend my motion just to be for the map amendment from A1 to I1.
Mr. Brooks, are you still second?
Yes.
Okay. Moved by Mr. Markham, second by Mr. Brooks. Madam Clerk? This is just for the map amendment.
Barry?
Yes.
Frislam?
Yes.
Ogalla?
Yes.
Cook? Yes. Mustis?
Yes.
Rice?
No.
Tyson?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trainier? Yes. Fritz?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Gould?
Yes.
Van Dyne?
No.
Balich?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Ventura?
No.
Markham? Yes.
Berkowitz?
Yes.
Cowan?
Yes.
Tumanello?
Yes.
Weigel?
Yes.
Carlitis?
Yes.
Winfrey?
Yes.
21 affirmative, 3 negative.
Motion is carried.
All
Mr.
right.
Markham?
So for the same case, zoning case ZC-19-036, I'll make a motion to approve the special use permit for a truck terminal.
Second.
Previous roll by Mr. Markham, second by motion by Mr. Markham, second by Mr. Brooks. Previous roll, Mr. Moose's second was Mr. Weigel. Questions?
Denise, the previous roll will mark us as a no still.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Thank you.
Right.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, next up we have zoning case ZC-19-044, which is a special use permit for keeping of horses, farm animals, and livestock, excuse me, in Lockport Township, commonly known as 17850 Roslyn Street, County Board District Number 9, and I'll make a motion to approve.
Moved by Mr. Markham, second by Ms. Parker. Any questions?
You just roll call.
Second.
Yeah, we have so there were no questions? Okay, then Madam Clerk.
Or, how do you vote that, then Joe, yes?
Yes.
Do we have to call the roll though, or can we?
Yes.
We want to be yes, I want to be yes.
Right.
So I don't know what that means.
And yes, and Joe?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Yes. Motion is carried.
Did we vote?
All in favor?
Because we didn't do the vote yet.
You did previous roll.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. The motion is approved.
Next up, we have zoning case ZC-19-053. It's a map amendment from A1 to R2A in Crete Township, commonly known as 24626 South Stony Island, Crete, Illinois, County Board District Number 1, and I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Markham, second by Ms. Ogalla. Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Weigel.
Second.
Second by Mr. Frislow. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried.
Next up, we have a resolution. We had a request for refund of fees from EMA Builders. The committee voted to recommend not approving, so all the motions are made in the positive, so if you don't want to give the refund, vote no. So I'll make a motion to approve the refund of fees.
Motion by Mr. Markham, second by Mr. Trenier. Any questions?
Roll call, please.
Barry?
No.
Frizalone?
No.
Ogella?
No.
Cook? No. Mostes?
No.
Rice?
No.
Tyson?
No.
Harris?
No.
Trenier?
No.
Fritz?
No.
Mueller?
No.
Gould? Van Dyne?
No.
Balich?
Yes.
Brooks?
No.
Parker?
No.
Ventura?
No.
Markham?
No.
Berkowitz?
No.
Cowan?
No.
Tumanello?
No.
Weigel?
Yes.
Carlitis?
No.
Winfrey?
No.
Shown as a no, please.
-22.
No.
Yes.
Two
affirmative. Right. So the motion has failed. Thank you.
That's everything we have for land use. Our next Land Use and Development Committee meeting is scheduled for November 12th, 2019 at 10:30 a.m.
Thank you. Next up is Finance Committee, Mr. Harris.
Good morning, Madam Speaker, fellow county board members, and all in attendance. The first item on the Finance Committee agenda is the monthly report to be placed on file. I have 3 reports. The first one is the report from the Illinois Department of Revenue showing sales tax remitted to Will County for the month of July 2019 to be $1,921,221.06. The RTA tax received is $2,271,982.87. That's a total of $4,193,203.93. The second report is the Will County Monthly Treasury Report dated August 31st, 2019 from the Will County Treasurer Tim Brophy. And the third report is the quarterly financial report for the 9 months ending August 31st, 2019 from the Will County Auditor Duffy Blackburn. I so move.
Motion by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Markham. We need to clean the roll, so.
Barry?
Yes.
Frizalone?
Yes.
Ogella?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Mostes? Rice?
Yes.
Tyson?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trenier?
Yes.
Fritz?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Gould?
Yes.
Van Dyne?
Yes.
Balich?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Ventura?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Berkowitz?
Yes.
Cowan?
Yes.
Tumanello?
Yes.
Weigel?
Yes.
Carlitis?
Yes.
Winfrey?
Yes.
24 affirmative.
Motion is approved. Mr. Harris.
Okay, I have 4 resolutions to bring forward. The first one is 19-269. This is the determination of the estimate of the annual aggregate levy. I so move.
Motion by Mr. Harris, second by Ms. Mueller.
Previous roll.
Previous roll by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Mr. Weigel. There's a question.
I'd like to make a comment.
Mr. Weigel.
I'm not in favor of taking 100% of the CPI. I don't believe in the last 10 years that we have taken 100% of the CPI. We don't need this additional tax money, I don't believe. We've probably begun to have a tax on marijuana. Can you turn my speaker on? Okay. And this could supplement this. So I'd like to make an amendment that we reduce the CPI by 1/2.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Weigel, second by Ms. Ogalla to reduce the CPI by 1/2. Questions?
I have a question. I believe the formula, as it allow us to reduce it all or nothing, if I'm understanding that correctly?
Rashawn?
Rashawn, could you speak on that, please?
So based on the formula, when you're doing the calculation, you take the base from the previous year, the current year's CPI, and you include that in the formula. With taking CPI and new property, as the EAV continues to increase, that's going to automatically decrease your rate. So the formula includes CPI, and it's as I had stated before in previous meetings, and I believe in committee we've had this discussion, that based on the current formula and as your EAV continues to grow, as we continue to see that trend, that's going to continue to decrease that overall rate, and that will benefit the county as the dollars that we've captured.
Okay, we have a number of people with questions. First is Mr. Ballage.
Yeah, I agree with Tom, even though it was up to me, we would do the easy way out, and probably the most likable thing by our constituents, that would be to take 1 penny out of every line item and actually cut the dollars and not talk about percentages and rates. But right now, we're looking at an exodus out of the state of Illinois. We need to do our part at the county, not to follow the example of the state of Illinois and tax everything to the max. And I understand that if Tom, this amendment goes through, I vote for it because it has a chance of passing. But I don't like taking the CPI at all. I think it's wrong. So, I'm just hoping the rest of the board looks at it like that. How many people in your neighborhood want to get out of here? Most people want to leave Illinois, and the ones that are staying are the ones that can't. They can't leave or they can't sell their house. So let's try to help the taxpayers.
Thank you. Ms. Trunier?
Yes, I will be voting no on this suggested change. I've heard from the other side of the aisle several times over the last couple of weeks about several new expenses that they want to add to the county budget, and frankly, I just don't see how we could do it without the CPI, the full CPI. So I will be in favor of the motion as written. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Eustace?
Well, first let me make a quick comment of saying that, I realize this is still lower the tax rate. It doesn't mean that we always have to tax the maximum level. But I might also point out this is a estimated levy. Well, the actual levy is not set until April, I believe, somewhere there. I always forget exactly what it's set. So I think it's April.
The final numbers come in and around April. So this action here is just setting the estimated levy. The final numbers will come in April, and that's where you will receive the update as to, based on what you estimate today, what you actually get in April.
So April is when you really set the levy, I guess is what I'm going to point out. The other question I would have then is, when the motion is passed, what was the CPI, 1.9?
Yes.
So I probably should say something like you lowered by 0.9% or something, or just do 1%. I'm just thinking on how will be a better way of wording the motion. That way, I think it should have a hard number on it. This is the only time I say you should find me.
Thank you. Mr. Frisland?
Sean, can you tell us what is the dollars attributable to the 1.9?
Sure. The 1.9 in CPI amounted to about 2.5 in overall dollars. And with new property, we had 1.5
3, so a total of 3.8 million.
Excuse me, Lord, 1.2 million.
Approximately, yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Brooks?
Madam Speaker, I heard discussion that we shouldn't go to the max because there's a possibility of a cannabis tax that's coming down this year, which we have not yet discussed, have we? Rayshawn, we don't know what that is. There's been no discussion, so we don't know what dollar amount that might be sitting here October 17th. Is that right?
No, we don't. We
Okay.
don't have that information, and you guys haven't had that discussion.
We haven't had that discussion yet. Thank you.
Ms. O'Gala?
Thank you. As in the past, I've always stated that CPI is a price index which is already increased to our residents. I'm not in favor of taking full CPI, but I would support, as Tom Lydic suggested, and made a motion, which I second, to take in half that amount. I don't think it's always right. We go to our taxpayers all the time, not just us, but every single body that can tax does this, okay? And what we need to do is, every taxing body, take a look at what you have and need to become more conservative in your spending than what you are today. We can't continue to grant all these things that everybody wants. Everybody's going to want something. It's never going to stop, because I want a lot of stuff too. But we have to be conservative about it. So that's why I would support everybody supporting Tom Weigel's motion here to go to take half of the CPI. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Karlitis?
Thank you. I would agree with Ms. O'Gala in supporting Mr. Weigel's statement. One of the things I do want to make reference to is you used the term capturing resources that would benefit the county, or statement similar to that. I think this isn't an attack on you, it's a general understanding. First of all, when we say we're capturing something, we're capturing what? We're capturing the finances and the taxes of our constituents. And I think when they vote us in, they ask us to be, they trust us with their money that they send in here. So I don't believe in capturing anything from them. I believe in supporting them and watching out for their monies, and whether that applies to new bonding at the forest preserve, whether that applies to additional gas taxes at the county level. We have a responsibility to the taxpayer and not just to the governmental agency that we're representing here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lucius?
I just want to maybe make one other real quick comment. The budget, Rashawn, the budget was based on these revenues, correct?
These revenues are included in the draft budget.
So you would have to cut 1.2 million out of it.
Whatever the board decides as to the direction they want to take on the levy, those numbers or that revenue would have to be reduced out of the current draft budget, right?
So let's just say it was 1.2 million. You would have to go back and look at the budget and cut out.
And we would have to reduce, wherever necessary. Yes.
Everybody should be aware of that.
Any other questions or comments? The motion on the floor, the amendment on the floor by Mr. Weigel is to reduce the CPI by half, 0.9, which was seconded by Ms. O'Gala. Madam Clerk.
Barry?
No.
Frizalone?
Yes.
O'Gala?
Yes.
Cook?
No.
Lustis?
Yeah.
Rice?
No.
Tyson?
No.
Harris?
No.
Trainier?
No.
Fritz?
Yes.
Mueller?
No.
Gould?
Yes.
Van Dyne?
No.
Balich?
Yes.
Brooks?
No.
Parker?
Yes.
Ventura?
No.
Markham?
No.
Berkowitz? Yes. Cowan? No. Tumanello?
Yes.
Weigel?
Yes.
Curlitis?
Yes.
Winfrey?
No.
Affirmative, 13 negative.
Motion is defeated. The original motion on the floor then from Mr. Harris was the levy as proposed. We'll go back to that one. I forgot now the motion Motion then for Resolution 19-269, moved by Mr. Harris and seconded by Ms. Mueller, was to accept the estimate of the annual aggregate levy. So, Madam Clerk.
Perry?
Yes.
Brizalone?
Yes.
Ogalla?
No.
Cook?
Yes.
Mostes?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Tyson?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trainier?
Yes.
Fritz?
No.
Mueller?
Yes.
Gould?
No.
Van Dyne?
Yes.
Balich?
No.
Brooks?
Yes.
Parker?
No.
Ventura?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Berkowitz?
No.
Cowan?
Yes.
Tumanello?
No.
Weigel?
No.
Curlitis?
Nope.
Winfrey?
Yes.
Affirmative, 9 negative.
Motion carries. Mr. Harris.
Okay, the next resolution is 19-270. This is appropriating grant funds and account corners FY 2019 budget for the suitors participation. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Brooks.
Perry?
Yes.
Brizalone?
Yes.
Ogalla?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Mostes?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Tyson?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trainier?
Yes.
Fritz? Mueller?
Yes.
Gould?
Yes.
Van Dyne?
Yes.
Balich?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Ventura?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Berkowitz?
Yes.
Cowan?
Yes.
Tumanello?
Yes.
Weigel?
Yes.
Curlitis?
Yes.
Winfrey?
Yes.
24 affirmative.
Motion carries.
Next resolution is 19-271. This is award bid for the annual audit. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Moostis. All
Previous
those-
row.
Second.
Previous room was
Money.
Mr. Frizzalone, second by Mr. Markham. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Next and last is 19-272. This is authorizing the county executive to execute necessary documents for the delinquent tax program. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Moostis. Previous roll by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Ms. Tyson. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
The next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for November 5th, 2019 at 10 a.m. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Next up is Public Works, Mr. Van Dyne.
Thank you and good morning. We have 8 items on the agenda to consider, starting with number 1, 19-273, authorizing the Will County State's Attorney's Office to proceed with condemnation cases regarding the county's improvements of Laraway Road from Stonebridge Drive to Cedar Road, County Board District 12, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Mr. Tumanello. Previous row by Mr. Frizzalone, second by Ms. Trenier. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
19-274, authorizing approval of professional services agreement for design engineering services with RS&H Incorporated for Gouger Road from Laraway to Francis, County Board District 9 and 12. And I so move.
Moved by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Mr. Ventura. Previous roll, Ms. Mueller, second by Ms. Parker. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
19-275, authorizing the appropriation of MFT funds for design engineering services for Gouger Road from Laraway to Francis, County Board Districts 9 and 12. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Mr. Tuminello. Previous roll, Mr. Carlitos, second by Mr. Ferry. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
19-276, authorizing approval of supplemental professional services agreement for design engineering services with Hutchinson Engineering on Briggs Street from I-80 westbound ramps north to Washington Street, County Board District 8, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Mr. Brooks.
Thanks.
Previous roll, Mr. Ballard, second by Ms. Ogalla. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
19-277, authorizing the appropriation of MFT funds for engineering services for Briggs Street from I-80 westbound ramps north to Washington Street, County Board District 8, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Mr. Brooks. Previous roll, Ms. Cowan, second by Mr. Frizzalone. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thanks,
Motion carries.
19-278, authorizing approval of professional services agreement for construction inspection services of Phase 3 with KTA Tater Incorporated on Briggs Street from I-80 to Washington Street, County Board District 8. And I so move.
Moved by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Mr. Brooks. Previous roll, Mr. Frizzalone, second by Ms. Ogalla. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
19-279, authorizing appropriation of MFT funds for construction inspection services Phase 3 from I-80 north to Washington Street, County Board District 8, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Mr. Brooks again. Previous roll by Ms. Berkowitz, second by Mr. Carlitos. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
And 19-280, authorizing an intergovernmental agreement between CMAP and the County of Will for the completion of the Will County's ITS plan, County Boards District 1 through 13, and I so move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Mr. Ferry. Previous roll, Mr. Carlitos, second by Ms. Fritz. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Our next Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting is scheduled for November 7th, 2019 at 9 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Van Dyne. Mr. Martin.
We have nothing for judicial. Our next meeting is scheduled for November 5th at 9 a.m.
Thank you. Public Health and Safety, Ms. Rice.
Good morning. The first item on the public health agenda is a public hearing. I make a motion to open the public hearing regarding amendments to the Will County Sewage Treatment and Disposal Ordinance.
Motion by Ms. Rice, second by Mr. Ballard.
Ferry? Ferry?
Yes.
Frizzalone?
Yes.
Ogalla?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Mostes? Rice?
Yes.
Tyson?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trainier?
Yes.
Fritz?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Gould?
Yes.
Van Dyne?
Yes.
Balich?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Ventura?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Berkowitz?
Yes.
Cowan?
Yes.
Tumanello?
Yes.
Weigel?
Yes.
Carlitos?
Yes.
Winfrey?
Yes.
24.
Thank you. We're in the public hearing. There are no speakers signed up for this particular issue. Are there any speakers? Speakers on this ordinance? No speakers.
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion by Ms. Rice, second by Ms. Berkowitz. Madam Clerk.
Barry.
Yes.
Furlong.
Yes.
Ogalla.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Mustis.
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Tyson.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Trainier.
Yes.
Fritz.
Yes.
Mueller.
Yes.
Gould.
Yes.
Van Dyne.
Yes.
Balich.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Ventura.
Yes.
Markham.
Yes.
Berkowitz.
Yes.
Cowan.
Yes.
Chumanello.
Yes.
Weigel.
Yes.
Perlitis.
Yes.
Winfrey.
We are at public hearing. Ms. Rice?
Second item, 19-281, amending the Will County sewage treatment and disposal ordinance, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Rice, second by Ms. Ventura.
Roll call.
Previous roll by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Markham. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Third item, 19-282, increasing private pay rates for Sunny Hill Nursing Home, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Rice, second by Mr. Frizzalone. Previous roll by Mr. Markham, second by Ms. Cook. Any questions? Ms. Ogalla?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment, please. So I'm always opposed to increasing fees and that item because of the cost to the residents. But what I can tell everyone here is that we are significantly lower than other nursing homes in the private pay rate. And our residents at Sunny Hill have such a better quality of life because the services that are provided there are so much better. The care is better, the facility is fabulous, the food is good, and the people who work and volunteer there really care for the residents. And with the new change where we have this patient-driven payment model, so rehab services are better, that's a whole thing that's going on in the state. It's much better because now, instead of a resident getting the services right as they get out of a hospital, and then they get into this extensive rehab, now they're going to be looking more at the individual patient and doing rehab services at their level. So I think it's a lot better. So I'm proud to say that I have been chair of public health and safety in the past. This is one thing that we do as a county that is much better than many other counties. So I just wanted to put those comments out there. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Fourth item, 19-283, awarding bid for medical products for Sunny Hill Nursing Home, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Rice, second by Mr. Parker. Previous roll, Ms. Ogalla, second by Ms. Tyson. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Fifth item, 19-284, renewing contract for nursing services, CNAs, LPNs, and RNs at Sunny Hill Nursing Home, and I so move.
Motion by Ms. Rice, second by Mr. Harris. Previous roll, Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Weigel. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The next Public Health and Safety Committee meeting is scheduled for November 6, 2019 at 9 o'clock, immediately following the Forest Preserve meetings at the Forest Preserve District Building. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, legislative policy, Ms. Trainier.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Speaker. We had a very productive meeting, lots of conversation on a number of topics, including the Child Advocacy Center funding, biosolid fertilizers, vaping, but the one that we're going to be taking action on is the cost of insulin. There is a Senate Bill 677. 667. See, I still keep getting the number wrong. I was just about to apologize for calling it 662 or 622. It's 667. I got it now. We're going to write a letter for the board to consider approval at the next county board meeting, supporting that bill that caps the cost of insulin to $100 a month And I do realize that's not the full cost, because anyone that has diabetes also has to bear the cost of the test strips, the lancets, and the needles, and they add significantly to the cost. But at least this is a start. Insulin prices have almost doubled in the last 5 years, actually 6 years. And but something needs to happen. This is a life-saving thing. This isn't a lifestyle choice. If you have type 1 diabetes, you're born with it. Doesn't matter your exercise level or your weight, you need insulin. Your body doesn't produce it, or what it does produce, you cannot use. So this is a life or death situation, and the cost should not be prohibitively expensive to any American in a country as wealthy as ours. So that letter will be coming shortly, and our next meeting will be, and we're still looking for any ideas for the state agenda, by the way. Our next meeting will be, my page just flipped, November 12th at 9 a.m.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We have capital improvements, Mr. Brooks.
Good morning. Good morning? Yep. Good morning. I got to throw this up. Good morning, Madam Chair. We have an update that was updated this day. On today, we got a new update. Randy, I don't know if you got this or not, but it was just updated today. Our health department, our courthouse, animal control, EMA, and you'll be all getting this afternoon because it's just updated today and it's much more good news. Everything's still on track. So, the only resolution I have, 19-285, was authorizing the county executive to award the contract for asbestos abatement at the current health department facility, and I so move.
Second. Moved by Mr. Brooks, second by Mr. Frizzolo, previous roll by Mr. Tuminello, second by Mr. Gould. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. Dave Tack did the updated go out today? It did? All right. All right, our next capital improvement committee meeting is scheduled for November 5, 2019 at 11 a.m. That's all I have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, Executive Committee, Mr. Ferry.
Well, it's 20 minutes to 12. It's still good morning. So, anyway, opening up first with, I'd like to make a motion to open a public hearing to discuss an ordinance prohibiting the use of groundwater as a possible, as potable water supply by the installation or use of potable water supply wells or by any other method.
Motion by Mr. Ferry, second by Mr. Brooks. Madam Clerk.
Ferry?
Yes.
Frizzolo?
Yes.
O'Gala? Yes. Cook?
Yes.
Mostis? Rice?
Yes.
Tyson?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trainier?
Yes.
Fritz?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Gould?
Yes.
Van Dyne?
Yes.
Balich?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Ventura?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Berkowitz?
Yes.
Cowan?
Yes.
Tuminello?
Yes.
Weigel?
Yes.
Carlitis?
Yes.
Winfrey?
Yes. We are in public. Thank you. We are in public hearing. Are there any, I have no speakers signed up for this portion. Are there speakers wishing to speak on this resolution?
Can you ask a question?
Oh, you had a question? Ms. Fleet, would you be willing to come to the podium, please?
I just, my question was, could you just...
Marge,
Can't hear you.
Marge, if you would come to the podium, please.
My name is Marge Fleet. My question, could you please define what you mean by potable water supply and the use of potable water supply wells or any other method?
Yes, just a moment. We have our land use department here. Just have your hand up.
you like us to come down or
Yes.
just respond from here?
If you would come down, please, so that everybody can hear.
Just what areas this is affecting.
Good morning. Potable water supply wells are defined as wells that are used for drinking purposes only. So you install those wells at depth and they're used to extract water from the ground for drinking water purposes only.
Please state your name and record, please.
Mike Cicerella, Cantera Development Group.
Yes, my name is Wayne Smith. I'm principal consultant with Pioneer Environmental.
And we have a second question.
And what areas do these motions pertain to?
There are 3 individual parcels. There's the One Industry Joliet, which is the former Sheffield Steel site. There is the east adjacent right away from CN Railway. And then east of the railway, there is a MWRD parcel, which is a Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, and that runs to the river. Those are the 3 parcels that are included as part of the groundwater ordinance. So in total, it's probably 50 to 60 acres.
More commonly known as North Broadway, Joanne. Was there another question? Anyone else? Questions? Mr. Booston.
Since you're down there, I wasn't going to ask a question, but you're down there. I think I know why. So how contaminated, these are all sites that are groundwater is contaminated? I mean, what's the problem with the water?
The problem is that this is an institutional control prohibiting the use of groundwater because they're suspected or there may be presence of environmental contaminants in the water that migrates east of the Sheffield Steel site.
So when you say it's suspected, you don't know. I mean, you haven't
not.
gotten the aquifers and checked them or anything.
We've done significant testing on the Sheffield Steel site,
Okay.
which has some confirmed contamination. And this is a mathematical model, a groundwater model that we use to predict contamination for an extended period of time. And that's required by the IEPA. And in that model, we've identified that it may migrate eastward towards the river, but yet not reach the river.
Okay, so because the water moves that way.
Exactly.
So your model shows it's most likely contaminated and moving.
Correct.
Okay.
Is that correct?
And this is in line with the IEPA process?
This is the final step, or one of the final steps in getting a no further remediation letter, which is a vital form of EPA closure that signifies the site is protective of human health and the environment, which is a necessary step to transact the property.
Thank you. We have some other questions, Ms. Ogala.
Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify, are there any residential properties in this area that will be impacted by this?
No.
Thank you.
Mr. Janine.
My question was, is the property owner and former steel business being held accountable? Are they paying for any of this?
No, the property was, I bought the property from Gerdau, which bought Sheffield Steel. This plant was closed, and then we bought the property from Gerdau, and we're responsible for all assessment testing of the site's soil and groundwater, all site remediation, and all regulatory closure work with the state.
Do you have, I mean, is there a plan for what's going to happen to this land? Is there any usable purpose for the land now?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have spent the last 2.5 years doing hundreds of thousands of dollars in environmental testing and cleanup. And the plan right now is we have a tenant in there, BL Duke, which is a scrap metal recycler on the east adjacent MWRD parcel on the water, on the river. And they are currently a tenant. And the plan is once we're able to obtain a no further remediation letter from the state EPA, the plan then is to sell the property to BL Duke which in turn is going to redevelop a significant portion of the site, invest a lot of money, and employ more people, increasing their business in the area.
Thank you. Ms. Ventura?
Yeah, I just want to be clear on this. As opposed to the EPA requiring further mitigation and cleaning it up, I'm looking at the letter from Pioneer that it does, only because you said it was moving, right? So in this letter from Pioneer, it does say that, I don't know the exact line, it basically says it's not projected to reach the displays. Okay, here, including the boundaries of all areas within the predicted extent of the contamination migration are within Will County, and the residential contamination is not predicted to reach the Des Plaines River, which we located 500 feet east of the subject property. So I just want to make sure that's clear that we're voting to move this forward as opposed to cleaning it up. It's because we don't think that it's going to get into the waterways for everybody else. So I just want to make that clear. When you said it was moving, it's not moving into the waterways.
It's potentially moving. It's a model that we use to project where the contamination might go years down the road. Is that correct, Mike?
Yes. So, yeah, the answer to your question is yes. There's no current information that suggests that historical contamination would migrate to the river.
Okay, because if I believe there was, I would be voting no on this and making you guys clean it up. So I want to be very clear that voting yes on this is because we don't believe that this contamination will get into drinkable water by people in our county.
Correct, and that's also the role of the Illinois EPA is to evaluate those same issues that you're concerned about. And that's how we go through the process in order to determine if that's a viable option. And that is a viable option since it does not have any information that suggests it will reach the river.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Other questions? Any other questions for the public hearing? Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Mr. Perry?
I'd like to make a motion to close public hearing.
Motion by Mr. Ferry, second by Mr. Martin. Madam Clerk? Perry?
Yes.
Brizalone?
Yes.
O'Gala?
Yes.
Cook? Yes. Lucas? Rice? Yes. Tyson?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trainier?
Yes.
Fritz?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Gould?
Yes.
Van Dyne?
Yes.
Balich?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Parker? Yes. Ventura?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Berkowitz?
Yes.
Cowan?
Yes.
Manello?
Yes.
Weigel?
Yes.
Curlitis?
Yes.
Winfrey?
Yes. We're out of public hearing. Mr. Ferry?
Thank you. I have 17 more items to bring to the board here. And as Larry the Cable Guy would say, get her done. So here we go. 19286, prohibiting the use of groundwater as potable water supply by the installation of or use of potable water supply wells or by any other method. And I so move.
Second. Moved by Mr. Ferry, second by Mr. Neer.
Second.
Previous by Mr. Moustis, second by Mr. Markham. All those in favor?
Aye.
Further discussion? Any opposed? Sorry, that was backwards. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Next is 19265, authorizing Will County to provide contribution for the homeless strategic plan. And I so move.
Second. Motion by Mr. Ferry, second by Ms. Cook. Previous roll by Ms. Mueller, second by Mr. Neer. Question?
Mr. Coleman, are you here somewhere? Yeah, I'm still not, I'm going to vote yes for this, but I'm still unclear exactly what it is. We, the Will County, we already have different homeless initiatives that we do through the county, whether we've got much of that revenue source comes from our CPG grant funds and fund funds. I believe we do some things with Trinity, we present our community concern. There may be some other programs that we are involved So now this is going to create a strategy. It's actually, we're joining with Joliet on this? Is that what we're doing? We're going to join strategy with Joliet.
Martha's with the CDBG department.
Good morning. Community Development Division with Will County Land Use Department. So these funds would go for the creation of a strategic plan for the Continuum of Care, which is an organization that consists of a bunch of entities, many entities that work towards solving homelessness in the county. In the absence of a strategic plan, it's really easy to kind of lose direction. The strategic plan, much like Rocky was talking about, having a strategic plan for PACE, it provides direction for the collaboration so that we all ensure we're going in the same direction. In the absence of that, it's very easy to go in a different direction. And we bring in just over $4 million annually with the Continuum of Care NOFA that comes out. So that's really important to make sure that we're on the same page. All these entities are on the same page. So that's what the funds would go for, specifically to provide direction to the Continuum of Care.
Ms. Cook?
I'll just speak very briefly on this. I have many of the same concerns that Mr. Mooses voiced. I actually delayed this vote by a month to make sure that I felt comfortable with us allocating funds for this. I think it's important that we are in early and, for this amount to say that we want to partner to protect our most vulnerable residents. That said, we will be reviewing this monthly with reports from Martha and the CDBG department in my committee to make sure that this is going the way that we anticipated it's going to go, and that the monies are being used well to have our community.
Mr. Martin?
Just quickly, I sit on the COC, so this money will also provide, so when HUD gives out money, it's on a point system. So this will actually give our community more HUD money. So this is kind of like an investment into the future because that money will be distributed throughout the whole county and it will provide a lot more points, so it'll make us more competitive nationally.
Thank you. Ms. Ventura?
And then to answer Jim's last question is we are matching the funds for Joliet, but Amita Health is also putting funds in and Grundy and Kindle are being approached about it as well. So this is a joint effort of all of those entities to like Marty said, to make sure that the agencies, multiple agencies, upwards of 60 agencies who work together, are all moving in the correct direction that we would like to see.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
19287, authorizing a programmatic agreement with the Illinois Historic Preservation Officer for the administration of certain programs funded by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. And I so move.
Motion by Mr. Ferry, second by Ms. Cook. Previous roll, Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Cowan. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next is 19288, granting a temporary access permit for the boulevard on Renwick Road, County Board Districts 5 and 13, and I so move.
Second. Moved by Mr. Ferry, second by Ms. Mueller. Previous roll, Mr. Carlitis, second by Ms. Berkowitz. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
19289, authorizing amendment to a countywide radio system tower site lease agreement, and I so move.
Second. Moved by Mr. Ferry, second by Ms. Mueller. Previous roll, Mr. Weidel, second Mr. Garrett. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
19290, establishing the Lincoln and 394 corridor enterprise zone, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Ferry, second by Ms. Tyson. Previous roll, Mr. Gallo. There was a question, okay. Rule, second by Mr. Gould. Questions? Mr. Bell.
Okay, I just was wondering, I know back when we talked about this at committee that I had asked for some information. We have all the enterprise zones, we have TIF districts, we have all that. My question was, where do we see the benefit? Where are we seeing the benefit for these areas, for this? I know in my part of this enterprise zone, which is the Creek Beach area, I know that there is a couple of businesses that are expanding. But I just wanted to get clarification on, where we see this actually looking. Because we always approve enterprise zones. I think it would be good for us to see, we've seen this growth here and there, where there's things growing, is this a benefit or isn't it? So something for us to know about, because sales tax revenue for the small communities would be a great benefit if they're building something to bring in more revenue for their districts. And so I'm just looking for, where is the improvements? And do we believe that enterprise zones, if districts, but I know we're just talking enterprise zones, actually work? That's what I was asking for, information on that.
So you're asking enterprise zones generally, or can Colin
Well,
answer some questions about this?
I asked him, I asked at our committee meeting, I asked for this information, so I'm assuming Colin went and got that information and is aware of it. That's why I was asking. Thank you.
Apparently you did not receive the email. So basically, the current enterprise zone that we in the Creek Beach area and also the South Cook suburbs has received. Oops, my notes just flipped on me. $29 million in investment in that enterprise zone since its inception in 2016. They are looking at over $190 million of investment if the enterprise zone is extended. And that is just the commitments that we currently have. That does not include anything that may occur that's unknown at this time.
Is that in Will County, or is that the whole
enterprise zone? And that would increase the labor force to over 3,000 people, or just that enterprise zone.
Right, and I didn't know I needed to send an email because I did make the request at our committee. So
right. Yeah, I sent it.
You sent an email. You did send an email? Okay, I guess I didn't see it. So, okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify that, because people ask questions all the time about an enterprise zone, giving stuff to businesses, and they're feeling it's taking away from them, from their tax base. So I just wanted to clarify that an enterprise zone works because it allows the developer to increase his capacity at an existing site or build a new site at a rate that is less than removes the sales tax from them. So it's a benefit.
Construction.
Yeah, on the construction. That's what I wanted everyone to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
19291, authorizing IGA with the various municipalities for the Lincoln and 394 enterprise zone, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Ferry, second by Ms. O'Donnell. Previous rule by Ms. Cook, second by Ms. Rice. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
19292, authorizing renewal of contract with Administrative Adjudication Hearing Officer Kelly A. Anderson, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Ferry, second by Mr. Harris. Previous rule, Ms. Tyson, second Mr. Ballage. Questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Next is 19293, renewing computer printer toner cartridges, maintenance and yearly cleaning contract, and I so move.
Motion by Mr. Ferry, second by Mr. Tumanello. Previous rule, Mr. Neer, second by Ms. Tyson. Questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
19294, awarding contract for security guard services, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Ferry, second by Ms. Tyson. Previous roll, Mr. Gould, second by Mr. White. Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
19295, declaring a vacancy in Will County Board District 1, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Ferry, second by Mr. Trenier. Previous roll, Ms. Tyson, second by Ms. Mueller. Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
19296, authorizing letter of support for the 12-year extension of the Joliet Center TIF district, and I so move.
Motion by Mr. Ferry, second by Mr. Roostes. Previous roll by Ms. Rice, second by Mr. Wyler. Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
19297, authorizing an exception to the terms of medical care contract with WellPath, and I so move.
Motion by Mr. Ferry, second by Mr. Frizzalone. Previous roll, Mr. Van Dyne, second by Ms. Berkowitz. Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next is 19298, replacement hires for the LLC 911, and I so move.
Motion by Mr. Ferry, second by Ms. Mueller. Previous roll by Mr. Fritz, second by Mr. Parker. Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
19299, replacement hire for, let me start that over. Replacement hire County Executive Maintenance Department, and I so move.
Motion by Mr. Ferry, second by Mr. Ballard. Previous roll, Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Van Dyne. Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
19300, replacement hire for animal control, and I so move.
Motion by Mr. Ferry, second by Mr. Frizzalone. Previous roll, Ms. O'Donnell, second by Ms. Fritz. Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
19301, replacement hires for the Sunny Hill Nursing Home, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Ferry, second by Ms. O'Gala. Previous roll, Ms. Cook, second by Ms. Trunier. Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The next executive committee meeting is scheduled for November 7th at 10 a.m., right in this building, right here. And next I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the county, all the appointments by the county executive, October appointments to boards and commissions.
Moved by Mr. Ferry, second by Ms. Mueller. Previous roll, Ms. Berkowitz, second by Mr. Tuminello. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next up we have public comment. We have some people signed up to speak. The first is Amy Doty.
Hello, my name is Amy Doty, and I am a lifelong resident of Will County. My husband Kirk and I live in Frankfurt, and we have 11 children, 4 biological, 5 of which we started as their foster parents have provided permanency via adoption and guardianship. And we currently have 2 foster children in our care, one who is an infant and another who's medically complex. If it's not obvious from my little story, motherhood and helping the community is a big passion for me. And I've been able to take that passion and be able to transfer that into my profession as a registered nurse for the last 25 years. I am currently serving as the nurse manager of the Pregnancy Resource Center of Will County, and I've been there for 8 years. For those of you who are not familiar with our organization, we are a nonprofit organization that provides free and confidential services to those who are expecting or potentially expecting in Will County and the surrounding communities. The medical clinic offers a limited scope of services, including free pregnancy testing, limited obstetrical ultrasound, education, and pregnancy options counseling by a registered nurse. We also offer community resource information and education on how to obtain healthcare and insurance coverage. Another program offered through our office includes a parenting and mentoring program called HOPE, which is an acronym that stands for Helping Others Parent for Education. Through this program, expectant parents are given information about pregnancy, childbirth, and parenting skills. They're paired with a specially trained volunteer, a mom mentor, or a dad mentor who provides support and encouragement. They are also eligible to earn duty care items such as clothing, equipment, diapers, and other items. Other programs offered by our center include adoption support for birth parents. We offer STD information and absence teaching within our local schools, and I've done those presentations in our local county schools. And we also offer a free grief program called the Rocking Chair, which offers support to those who have either experienced a past pregnancy or infant loss, or are currently in the midst of a pregnancy where there's a life-threatening or life-threatening diagnosis for baby. We also offer a post-abortive program for men and women that offers opportunity for support after an abortion experience, because many times they can be facing some struggles. This can be done in a one-on-one mentoring format or as a part of our state's organization's biannual post-abortive retreat setting. Statistics will tell us that about 25% of all women will experience at least one abortion in their lifetime. In my 8 years in this role and having seen personally over 4,000 women in Will County, I can tell you that I can count on one hand the number of women who have verbalized their great pride and joy in avoiding pregnancy. The mass majority who share feelings of sadness, guilt, and regret. And it is for this reason that we offer this free program. Our organizational mission statement is to equip those facing pregnancy decisions with excellent care, compassionate support, and honest information. This is exactly what we do each and every day. I can tell you story after story of the positive impact that the Pregnancy Resource Center has made in the lives of Will County families and women. As you may or may not know, October is Respect Month Life, and I believe that one way we can do that is to walk with those in our community who might need some assistance, as well as educate them fully about all of their options and resources available to them. A majority of clients we serve are under-resourced or underserved, and find us because all of our services are 100% free to them. We are 100% privately funded through the individuals of this community, businesses, and churches. We receive not one nickel of government funding. Many of our clients have verbalized that they have difficulty finding the resources that they need just for their day-to-day needs. Some feel not respected or cared for or heard, and this should not be. Our organization has been able to partner with our clients to bring about some really great outcomes and to help fill in the gap of support they are often lacking, and we do so in a compassionate and caring way. It is my hope that you'll now be more informed about what the Pregnancy Resource Center of Will County has provided to your Will County community area for almost 30 years. And as you continue to lead in this role, in your roles, my hope is that you might find and provide leadership that will support and respect all lives for those you serve, both those born and unborn. The need is great in Will County as it is elsewhere, but there are also many in our area who are willing to help with those needs, and the PRC acts as a conduit of care. On behalf of the thousands of Will County women that have found our office, I want to thank you for the opportunity to introduce ourselves and to invite you to visit our office at 2 Uno Circle, which is near St. Joe's Hospital, or even a tour or a conversation so we can further discuss ways to partner as we work to improve the lives of Will County families. Thank you.
Thank you. Thomasine Lee.
Good morning, my name is Thomasine Lee. I am a Joliet native and I volunteer at the Pregnancy Resource Center. I've been there about 2.5 years. On average, I am there about 7 hours a week and see about 6 ladies per week. So that multiplies to a lot of people, a lot of ladies especially that I've met over this time. Our nation seems to have this tone that abortion is the way to go. It is right, it's good, and if you believe that life is the option, you're in the minority. So before I started at the pregnancy center, I thought I would be meeting women that would come in rather aggressive or with some kind of an agenda saying, you know, don't tell me what to do with my body, or my body, my choice, you have nothing more to say to me. But that's been very much the opposite of my experience there. The women that come by large are either just found out that they are pregnant and it was unplanned, or they suspect that they might be pregnant and it was unplanned, and they are feeling in crisis. That could be their words, or at least the words that they would use if I'm paraphrasing. They're feeling like their life just fell apart. They're not sure how they're going to keep a full-time job and raise a child. They're not sure how they're going to finish school. They don't know how they're going to tell their mom. They don't know how they're going to tell their significant other or their friends. And so they may choose abortion, but in those situations it would be because of default, because they just don't feel like they have another option. That's been my experience for the most part, except for 3 that I could name. Of those 3, 2 of them came in with the intent to get an abortion, with a conversation of just being able to ask them, tell me your story, wanting to be heard, honestly. Tell me your story. What are the obstacles that you're seeing? Are you really wanting an abortion, or are you just feeling like that's your option? And are the obstacles not able to be overcome? With a conversation like that, and then with their consent to actually have an ultrasound and see the baby on a screen kicking, and even one of them being able to see that it was a baby girl. Both of these girls chose life, and they chose to bring their significant other into the decision-making process, and then joined our parenting classes. So I was able to have a long-standing relationship with them throughout their pregnancy, and actually firsthand be able to see that they changed from hopeless to hopeful. The reason I share that story with you today is because you're leaders in this community, and I'm just wondering if you're feeling like there's a pressure that it's 2019 and we need to get with the program and everybody's up for abortion, and if we say things about life, we're in the minority. And I'm telling you, there's a large amount of women in this community that would not be what they would say to you today if we brought them all in here. They would say opposite. They would say, I didn't know I had other options, or I didn't know how to do it, or I didn't have people to walk with me, and so we would have wanted to choose life, or we are choosing life because now we know. So that's what I wanted to share with you this morning. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Next up, we have Leon Osek.
Good morning. My name is Leon Ossick. Most people know me by my nickname, Rocky. I've been here before to speak on the abortion issue, and for the life of me, I can't see why everyone doesn't condemn at least before birth or after birth abortion. I remember when Roe versus Wade was passed, I think in '73, I didn't like it, but I didn't really get involved in it when it was early term. I thought, well, it's up to women. I'll never, be in that position. But how depraved have we become when you've got a governor or pediatrician talked about removing a baby from a womb and letting it sit there, making it comfortable while you decide what to do with it. They're going in and ripping babies apart and selling the parts. I just don't understand how depraved of a society have we become. It boggles my mind. As I said last time, I've got a grandson who's soon to be a year old, and I held him about half hour or 20 minutes after he was born, and I'm looking at him, and I'm thinking, how could anyone harm such a precious being? And I know this board, I think, refused to talk about or approve a resolution condemning the after-birth abortion. I don't know how you can live with yourselves if you don't approve that. But, you know, I just find this whole thing, I don't know why we need to kill the babies after they're born or at the moment they're born, or even in the third term. Everything I've read, the baby could survive if they're allowed to be born and given proper care. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak?
Herb Brooks and I...
I know, that's not the vote. Give your name for us, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Chandra McCain, and I am also a Will County resident. I am here to support, also to talk a little bit about Pregnancy Resource Center. Thank you for allowing me this time. I am a registered nurse by trade. I am a licensed counselor, but nothing is more fulfilling than being a volunteer for the Will County Pregnancy Center. I have been there for 10 years, and I've seen both sides of the spectrum. When a girl comes in to get that palpable ultrasound, she is delighted. Around 6 weeks, she can see that heartbeat. And the first thing she says, I'm having a baby, not a clump of cells. So that is life. That baby has purpose. Also on the other side, I see as a licensed counselor, as I'm doing my intake, right away in my intake question, I put, have you had any abortion? Because oftentimes, it's a quick remedy when we go to the other side. And there's no condemnation. I'm not speaking condemnation. But there's also a lot of anger. There's a lot of resentment, shame, and guilt that's contributing to abortion around the 7th year when she's had it. And so as a counselor, we're able to walk beside her, to encourage her in a non-judgmental style, in a loving style. Also, many of the girls come back and they say from 7 or 8 years, they're still walking with us because they're still needing to go through a healing process. And that's what we're all about. Not to point fingers, and we get some of the same girls back, and we just love on them because of what they've done. It's not who they really are. But I questioned myself. I said, when I sat down, I said, could it be from the opioid crisis, the suicide rate, could it be possible that because years ago no one told them because of the backlash that they would have from having an abortion, could it be part of that, which nobody talks about? And so I would love for you all to think about that. That might be part of it, get the healing that they need. So thank you so much for sharing, allowing me to share, to walk beside these Will County girls. We're killing the nation. We're killing doctors and lawyers. We're the teachers. There's an epidemic. So consider that. Consider that. There's always adoption. There's always foster care. Please consider that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McCain. Are there any other members of the public wishing to speak? Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Edward Gal. I intend on opening multiple recreational cannabis dispensaries throughout the state. I know it's not on the agenda today, but me and my group are kind of trying to see if there's a litmus test to see where the Will County is leaning on the subject, and if it will be formally on the agenda for the next meeting.
We don't know that at this point. Did you have any other statements or anything that you want to make at this time?
Just trying to get a general feeling as we're going around the state. Sorry I got here late, the I-80 was closed down. Thank you for your time.
I can say though that as soon as it is on the agenda to be discussed and to be voted on, it will be made public. It will be posted so you'll have a chance to know. It'll be on the website as well as in the newspaper, so it will be a public meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Comments from county board members? I believe Mr. Brooks and Mr. Ballard have something.
And me and her.
Some of y'all may not be old enough to remember the television show The Odd Couple. But as odd as it might be, two of these young ladies in our audience, almost 30 years ago, I served on the board of the Pregnancy Center when Penny Greco was there. That's been almost 30 years ago. As a result, I have 3 adopted children. And I wanted you all to know this very short statement, and Steve's going to ask you all a question. We do recognize pro-life this month by making a statement that we believe that people in Will County want protection for their babies, and we all believe that they want to be kept alive. Mr. Ballard.
At this time, me and Herb would ask any county board member that believes in protection of babies born alive to please stand and say, I agree.
I agree.
She said, repeat.
I asked all the county board members that agree in protection for babies born alive to please stand and say, I agree. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments by county board members?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Well, we all know now that October is Respect Life Month. And as we reflect on that, I'd like to share an excerpt from the Respect Life Journal, Christ is Our Hope, in every season of life. From the time we are knit together in our mother's wombs until we take our final breaths, each moment of our lives is a gift from God. While every season of life brings its own challenges and trials, each season also gives us new opportunities to grow in our relationship with God. Today, the gift of life is threatened in countless ways. Those who are most vulnerable, rather than receiving the protection they deserve, are all too often seen as a burden and as expendable. As new attacks on human life continue to emerge, we can be tempted to despair. But Christ instead offers us unfailing hope. For this reason, a woman experiencing a difficult pregnancy can find the strength to welcome her precious child into the world. A man facing a terminal diagnosis can see the end of his earthly life is only the beginning of eternal life with Christ. These comments reflect many of the strong feelings I have in respecting life. Recently, a study published in September 1 in the issue of British Journal of Psychiatry reported that about 827,000 women have an abortion in the U.S. every year. This is a staggering number of abortions. We see the world trend, countries such as Ireland and Australia legalizing abortion and shamelessly celebrating before their people. States in the USA are Planned Parenthood is targeting minority communities and opening up new facilities. And our governor boasts to make Illinois the most progressive state in the union regarding abortions. But to respect life is to never give up. Our message is not one of hate, but one of love, and we're not afraid to share it. As we celebrate and recognize the wonder of all life, especially the unborn, I'd like to thank the Pregnancy Resource Center for coming today and sharing their message and showing us that there is a lot of good in the world and a lot of good works that are being done. And amazingly, they do it without any government funding. They're here in Joliet, and I'm very, very proud to have them as a part of our community. So thank you for all you do at the Pregnancy Resource Center. And I hope you will all remember to celebrate life, not just in October, but every day. And remember that every heartbeat matters. Thank you.
Thank you. To know.
I got a couple things just to bring forward. First of all, I want to inform the entire board that on November 5th at 12:30 after Capitol, we will be doing a health department tour. As you know, it's coming along very nicely. I'd like to bring the entire board out there. You're all welcome. Same thing on November 12th. We'll be having another tour at 11:30 for the animal control. And last but not least, Larry, I know if you're watching, to a man that I've respected for many decades working with him. I know we've been on opposite sides of a lot of the boat set many times, but I'm telling you, my friend, I'm pulling for you, and I look forward to seeing you back here soon. And you did a very good job. But I'm really looking forward to seeing you get up there and sit back.
Me too.
Yes, hi. I wanted to thank the Plainfield students for their comments on the need to expand public transportation in the permanent routes. I have been, again, an advocate for public transportation, so please keep this in mind when we're discussing a dedicated funding source for our roadways through the motor fuel tax that would allow us to move more RTA funds over. Also, the GM workers from Bolingbrook as well as across the nation have come to a tentative agreement, so this will protect 9,000 jobs as well as work towards permanent status. However, today the Chicago teachers went on strike, so I am wearing red to support them. They're looking for class size and more prep time, so we can all look at that here, even in our own district. District 86 had a rally at their own teachers here in Joliet because they're also having issues with their contracts. The gentleman asked about marijuana. Is he still here? Okay, so I have no issue going on record saying that I support the zoning of marijuana in Will County and the taxing of it, 3% in the cities and 3.75% in the unincorporated areas, and I will be asking the board to push towards that when that vote finally comes in front of us. The last thing is I wanted to make a statement about the babies born alive. That's a political statement. It does not reflect the current laws that we have, nor necessarily the members of people who did not stand today. So I want to remind people that we have to follow Illinois law and federal law. We can't just arbitrarily decide that we're going to ban something in this county. We're not home rule, and we did take an oath to uphold those constitutions. Lastly, birth control over the counter or support for daycares and pre-Ks, family paternal and maternal leave are things that would really help push people towards wanting to support their families. So I look forward to seeing everyone who stood today to work with our legislative committee to voice your issues on how we can make sure that we have birth control over the counter, make sure that we're funding our teachers, make sure we're giving money to daycare, and preferably having maternal leave and maternal leave so mothers and fathers can stay home with their kids and give them the best opportunity. So other than that, I'd ask that these non-county board issues, the political issues that push only to divide us, that we stay focused on what can help our residents in the area. Thank you.
Mr. Neer.
I'd like to thank Rachel for her comments. Thank you very, very much. I also want to mention the GM workers, remind everyone that we have a food bank going. I want to thank Board Member Gould for his donation and Board Member Harris for his donation. We are still trying to help these workers. It is going to take them a very long time to recover from this strike. It was a nationwide strike. The 80 employees that work in Bolingbrook were severely affected, and certainly would continue to push all of you to assist those folks with their lives, with their babies' lives, by donating in a large amount to our food pantry. Thank you.
Fritz.
Thank you, Country. Not only is it Respect Life Month in October, obviously breast cancer awareness, I think we're all aware. It's also Clergy Appreciation Month, so I would like to express appreciation for Pastor Brooks, our other clergy, and the clergy that come in here every month to help us recognize that we are reliant on a higher power. Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy. We take donations too.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. everybody's talking about October, but something in November. As a combat veteran affiliated with our Will County Veterans Assistance Commission, I want to take this time to formally invite everybody here today to the Will County Veterans Day ceremony. It will be at 10 a.m. on November 11th at the Rialto Theater, so it'll be inside this year, which is a great change. Pretty brisk on November 11th usually. There will be a free reception following the ceremony at the Route 66 Joliet Museum. There will be refreshments provided by Blue Taco, military displays, and community providers. So I urge you all to please come out and celebrate the service and sacrifice of all veterans living and deceased at this event. And I also want to mention there is an opportunity to volunteer as a greeter to greet veterans as they arrive and pass out stars from starsforourheroes.org. Beginning at 9 a.m., you can contact the Will County United Way to sign up for that, and this information will also be emailed out via staff. So, thank you.
Ms. Collins?
Yeah, a couple things. First of all, since we had a great discussion about PACE and Mtra, I wanted to point out that the PACE 2020 budget public hearing for Will County takes place on Monday, October 21st from 3 to 5 p.m. at the Joliet Public Library. So if you want to be part of that conversation, obviously there's a lot more to be said there. Secondly, my second point is that I wanted to bring attention to and notice the passing of Congressman Elijah Cummings, who was a leader in the civil rights movement for many years, and he died, I believe, unexpectedly overnight. So, you know, our thoughts and hopes are with his family and his congressional fellows. Thirdly, I would like to mention the situation, the status of abortion in Ireland was brought up, and many people know that I lived in Ireland for 3 years. And one of my roommates was a doctor, and he worked at a hospital, and one of his colleagues was a woman named Savita Kalpanarvar. In 2016, I believe, Savita suffered an incomplete miscarriage. It was a baby she wanted. It was a baby she hoped to have. She was not granted an abortion after an incomplete miscarriage. She was not granted an abortion because it was not legal. Savita then died owing to a septic miscarriage. The case of abortion is complex, and to reduce it to simple terms is an egregious sin against life. While everyone is entitled to their own personal decision about whether or not to get an abortion, to bring it to a board that has nothing to do with whether or not we can legislate abortion is a pure and simple political tactic. It's reprehensible, and it's deeply offensive to women and to their male allies. You are certainly entitled to express your opinion, but the manner in which this was raised and the falsehoods that continue to be spread about this issue are again an affront to life, an affront to truth, and an affront to democracy.
Well, I definitely would agree with Mimi that the case of abortion is complex. But I think all too often we haven't had open and honest conversations, and the lines get blurred and the truth gets blurred. So with that, I just want to say thank you to the folks that came up from the Pregnancy Resource Center. What I heard is a compassion in your voice and a determination to assist those people in our community that are truly looking for help. And we throw around the term choice often, and it usually pertains to one side of the equation or one side of the argument. So I want to thank you for being there for that choice decision that's being made. And I want to thank you for serving our community and our constituents. Thank you.
Yes, first of all, I'm not think Herb Brooks, it took a lot of courage for him to stand up for life. And when I hear the girls talking about this stuff as being political, we were talking about a baby that's born alive being allowed to die or be killed.
I'm not a girl. And for the record, I'm a doctor.
No. Whatever, I don't know what you are. I don't pay attention to you. All right, but here's the problem. What we were talking about is babies born alive. I don't care who you are, you got to realize it's wrong to kill a baby that's born alive. It's not about abortion. It's about killing a live human being. And he's a Democrat, I'm a Republican. And we probably disagree on tons and tons of things. But morally and ethically, we agree it's wrong to kill a live baby. It's a live human being. If you ask Jim Glasgow, he'll say it's breaking the law. And it's going on in the hospitals. It's been going on since the early 2000s that I know of. And I find it appalling that it's being called political. It's about a live human being. It's not a political issue.
Berkowitz.
As I stated in a previous meeting, the subject, it is no longer a social issue, not when the taxpayers are being forced to pay for it. So in correction, we are all entitled to our own choices, to our own determination of what is moral, what isn't. But it is not fair to make everyone pay for something that they do not support. And that's what has happened with this. Is there an argument about that? I don't know. I just know that the taxpayer is paying for this. So I think that's fairly accurate.
Ms. O'Donnell?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify something that was said earlier. For everybody to understand that motor fuel tax is a dedicated source. We do have funding. We have funding sources outside of the motor fuel tax that's from the state with the RTA tax, and we will be getting a bond payout over the next 6 years for funding our roads. Will County is not, and I know our director of the department, Jeff Reynolds, we do the very best that we can with all the money that is allocated to us, that is very important to us, the safety of our residents. Many of the roads you hear issues about are not a county road. You hear I-80 and I-55, and we have always supported anything to get additional funding for those. I know that Nick has gone out there and been fighting for grants and Hopewell Bridge and everything like that. So I don't want anyone to be confused. There is a dedicated funding source, and the only thing that I would like to add to that is that there comes a point in time we need to look at our constituents and say, when is enough enough? Because how much can we tax? Because the residents can only afford so much. I know that senior citizens living in the mobile home communities in my district are limited on their money, and their rents keep going up every year for the ratio from the HOA, and the rents for just to have their mobile home on the property. So they are a limited income, and they need to get to locations that are outside of that. So we need to really consider what impact that us, our county passing an additional tax increase to them, how that would impact them. I think it's detrimental to them. So I think it's a regressive tax, and we really need to look at that. And we should not say we need a dedicated funding source. We have a dedicated funding source. Thank you.
Ms. Rice?
I just want to comment on today's request to stand in support of something or not support of something. Me not standing or standing isn't necessarily a reflection of my views on very complicated and complex things. I absolutely embrace life, but I hope that we don't start the precedence of, out of the blue, asking board members to stand for something or not stand for something. I think we have a process here. It's vote-driven, it's committee-driven, and I feel in particular disrespected that I would be asked to take my views
and either stand and look one way or sit and look another way. I think it's complicated, and if we are going to come from an area of respect, dialogue, communication, clarity, and process is all part of this. And I think this is the first time on the board that I have felt clearly disrespected in what I was asked to do as a county board member. I hope that together we can say we have to come from a place of respect if we're going to give respect. And I hope that this isn't a precedent, and I have every respect for every speaker that came out today, just not what I was asked to do.
Well said. Thank you. Have one announcement here. The Regional Education Office is moving between today and tomorrow. The new address will be 116 North Chicago Street, Suite 400. That's in the Rialto Square building. So upstairs in that building, the Regional Office of Education is moving back downtown. Not in this building, but downtown, so it'll be easy to access. I think we've heard from every county board member just about today, but we'll have announcements by the majority leader. Jerry?
Thank you, Speaker Winfrey. Every time October would come around in the past, I used to think of Halloween and Oktoberfest. And my focus has changed since my wife had a bout with breast cancer. The only thing I would say is her doctors are very good. Her doctor said, you're not a survivor until you pass away from something else. So that means their philosophy is to stay vigilant, stay up on all of your testing, and stay alive. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Majority leader, Mr. Frizzle.
I'll be quick. First, there's a fundraiser to replace a wheelchair lift for our disabled vets. That's Saturday the 16th at TNT Post 367 on Orchard Drive in Joliet. I think everybody's getting a copy of this, so give yourself that. I too want to thank all of those people that respect life. This month is National Italian American Heritage Month and Polish American Heritage Month. So since I'm both, when you go home tonight, you have a nice bowl of pasta bazool with some Milwaukee's on the side. I too want to thank everybody that are speaking today in support of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And we mentioned earlier about National Energy Awareness Month. I do want to congratulate my partner Steve in becoming one of the first to use the county program to go solar on his home. So we now will call him Solar Steve since Solar Santa left. And I know Mark mentioned Halloween briefly. You know, it's a tough time at Halloween. It's getting dark out. The kids are all over the place. There's a lot of good programs, trunk or treat programs. A lot of local churches, a lot of villages are running them now. So, you know, if you encourage families with young kids to get more candy they can possibly eat in a month of Sundays, it's a great event for them to go to, and they're all over. Just about every village has have something going on like this. It's a great way rather than them roaming around the streets on Halloween night. So if you can encourage families to do that, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just say that I'm especially moved in the month of October for breast cancer. I'm the daughter of a woman who died at 47 from breast cancer. I'm also a person who has had 2 lumpectomies for breast cancer and is still here. So it's especially meaningful to me. So I encourage anyone, male and female, because men are also affected, to be consistent, conscientious about having the necessary checkups and paying attention to any strange spots, lumps, whatever, so that you can stay with us. Even if we don't agree with you, we want you to be here. So we want you to stay healthy. We do have the need for executive session today. We have quite a few items. So we're going to call the roll and then we'll take a short break.
And the purpose of executive session is pending litigation, personnel, and real estate negotiation.
Motion to go on executive session.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Frizzle, second by Mr. Dowd, to go into executive session for the purpose of HR, pending litigation and property litigation.
Barry.
Yes.
Brisalow.
Yes.
O'Gala.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Wolstis. Rice.
Yes.
Tyson.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Rainier.
Yes.
Fritz.
Yes.
Mueller.
Yes.
Gould. Van Dyne.
Yes.
Balich.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Parker. Ventura.
Yes.
Markham.
Yes.
Berkowitz.
Yes.
Cowan.
Yes.
Tumanello.
Yes.
Weigel.
Yes.
Prolitis.
Yes.
Winfrey.
Yes.
22 affirmative.
Thank you. We are in executive session. We will take